Hi, welcome back. I think that the game crashed or I possibly messed something up, but I had to revert to an autosave. So there's a couple things to do over again, but it's so early and it was barely anything that I'm just going to do it. Um, she is asleep right now, anyways. So, and now she's up doing her recreation. She needs food. Yeah, so I think. Oh, that panther didn't kill that thing yet. Oh, that was what I had to do, was harvest these. Which I think it was this one. Yeah, pretty sure it's that 95. Yep. So there's breakfast. Oh, and embarrassing. It's a normal thing in rainforest not to have the heal root. That's a balancing thing. So I should have known better. This pawn not having adequate plant skills. Oh, since I reloaded the game, I have to do all these again. This is one thing with this mod. Oh, I think they must have added that, or maybe I just never noticed it. What was I up to here? Oh, the fact that we don't have. Well, we could get some planted. That could be a new, since I just discovered that. Even before rice, we'll plant some heal root because we can do it, and hopefully it will grow quite quickly with this this rich soil. So, what was I thinking of? Oh yeah, the single bed's fine for now. So it's probably nice that I went back and was able to kind of start a little bit earlier, because that was probably a poor allocation of labor there. I think this is, was this still? Anyways, oh, I think I missed one. All right, let's see. You want to harvest breakfast? Oh, and there's the. So this is this was really nice. This was a huge, like, awesome that this. Oh, and he's hurt. How? Bleeding out in 7 hours. Oh boy. Gotta keep an eye on that. Oh, and I'm screwing up by watching that go down. It's really interesting. If that panther can die, I mean, there's another animal. So make sure the snake's not going to attack us. Hopefully it won't. And we will. Oh, I forgot. I have still to do the stockpile stuff too. Okay. Now stop doing that and run over here and grab this dead bird. Don't get bitten by the snake. Good. Now eat. Excellent. And now we have a couple things that we need to start thinking about. One is to potentially build a hoop stone. Do we really need to? A hoop stone ring? It's 20. Yeah, we need wood for our bow. So we are going to have to wait off on that and reinstall. Okay, and what did I want to do? Production, crafting spot. All right, and so this is a whole other thing, and I think I have a mod that's possibly doing some stuff here, so it might be different. In this game, when you create crafting spots or stoves or whatever, it's like any kind of a production station, you can add bills to it to make stuff. And so we have an immediate need of a few things. First, we're gonna need a short bow. A recurve bow would be nice. Our crafting is high enough, but can we make the ammo? Great arrows, stone arrows. See, I don't see the. I forget what they're called, but it's something slightly different. Hopefully, arrow stone. Is this? I could have swore that these the arrows for the recurve bows were different. Is this something that was maybe changed, or am I just remembering wrong? Wow, if that's the case, I'd much rather use that because it shoots a lot faster and it tends to be more accurate as well. So we got 15 wood. Hopefully we make like a normal quality or better. We don't need anything amazing. And then it would be nice, we're going to get this raid before we know it. And we have this food. I was going to say it'd be nice to go out and hunt a tiny bit just to get a little practice with our weapon. So when we actually are fighting, if we survive it, we can possibly get a good amount of experience. But there's a lot of ways to go right here, and we have to be quick because we're gonna need to put some traps. So if a melee attacker comes and they happen to have like wooden armor on or something, I know it doesn't sound like much, but when all you have is like a bow and some arrows and maybe like a knife or a club, they're barreling at you with armor on. It's nice to have a trap that if they trigger, sometimes the armor will absorb it and they still survive, but they're normally pretty injured. And then if they don't die, I try. It's so hard though, especially in this kind of position. In the very, very beginning, that first raid, if they are a quality kind of a pawn, if I can, it's nice to try to take them alive and try to, even though we're in such a dire strait as far as food goes and everything, if you can get an extra pawn early on, it greatly improves your chances of this kind of a playthrough, or anyone where like you're starting off with hardly anything. When you get that second person, that allows you as a hunter, like if this pawn was going to go hunting, they could hunt more difficult prey, and if the prey attacks them, they can run, and at least they have another pawn that is going to possibly back them up. Or if they do get disabled, like they get knocked out, this pawn can come and possibly save them. Depends on if the animal's still in a manhunter rage and how this pawn can possibly deal with that, and hopefully they deal with it in time. You have to be careful in this game, especially in this kind of a start, until you get better stuff about what you're attacking. You see things if you're like just a casual gamer when you first play this game, and it seems harmless. Like, okay, there's a meme about these guys, the Shelly boys. You would think just, oh, a cute little tortoise, 73, you know, like, these things are tanks. They are like, you'd expect it. They're essentially walking around in a little armor container, and they can mess you up, especially like a low level pawn with nothing. If you're trying to shoot this thing with like wooden or steel arrows, good luck if you don't have like a really good shooting pawn as far as their ranged skill goes. Sorry, this game sound is a little loud. There we go. So this is a lot of food right here. I don't know how much. It looks like the panther took more this time than the previous time. Or it could have been like maybe the snake ran up and ate a little chunk too. I don't know. But still, this is probably going to yield us, I think it says here, yeah, normally this thing will produce 45 meat. So if we harvest this, and even if we only get a portion of that, we could maybe get 20 meat, which is 2 meals. So that's good. That's like 2 trips of going to grab berries. So, and it just came right to us, like, and this thing might die in 6 hours if it doesn't sort of like overcome it. And that would be huge, because if this thing dies, we can wait on eating this a little bit and then butcher it and then eat what we can. And this can be laying on the ground in there, and we can possibly butcher that too and cook that. So the fact that we have this, and we have it's good for 2.4 days, but generally you want to be trying by that second day, use it, because if you try to put it off to the last minute, it's easy for it to spoil, like when you're still cooking on the stove or whatever. But what I think the best way to do this is within 2 days. So this is what's hard, is because this game, it makes you choose. Do you want to do this one thing, or do you want to build a trap? Do you want to make some arrows, or do you want to get your ass kicked by the AI before you even get started? Which is probably what's going to happen to me. But it sort of forces you into these choices, and I'm inclined in this situation. It's not hard to take down just these 2 trees, and one of them are going to give us a good amount of wood. How much do these ones even give? I don't know this map, obviously. I thought I'd played Rainforest before, but I guess it must have been like for a different. Just I didn't. Shows you again, like I'm kind of just like flying by the seat of my pants, despite the number of hours I played this game, which is frankly sad, but whatever. So we can clear this, and it's not going to make a ton of wood. But if we can just build a real simple wall with a door here, then if we can get some more steel, and we're going to get some from dismantling the floors here. Do we have any other nearby steel? We got lucky with that, those vents being here. This steel, and I forget. If I don't have it, there should be a way that I can see inside the walls and see if there's more conduits under there. I think it was. Oh yeah, it's. If it's there, how do I remove those again? So many things to remember. There we go. All right. Nice. So I don't remember how much you get when you deconstruct power conduits. It's not very much. It's like 1 or 2 steel or something like that. But still, it's something. That's good. And with this floor, I mean, we might have enough. I'm hoping to make. We're not going to have even with this extra wood. I think we can make a bow, a set of wooden arrows, and then a set of steel arrows, and we will, if possible, we can. In the longer term, we can use those wooden arrows against like real small prey, like rats and squirrels and stuff like that. And any kind of major threat, like a nearby predator that we want to kill. If this one doesn't die already, but this snake, for instance, and I thought there was another predator nearby on this map that I saw. I guess I'll have to look later. But so we want to have like a normal quality bow or better, which is, hey, we might be able to make something like that with this 5 crafting skill. And then we're gonna have those 2 arrows, 2 sets of arrows, and we can use one. It's just sort of like our shitty ammo for doing basic things. But if we have a raid, we can grab those steel arrows. And then I mean, we need. I like enough for a knife as well. And so the way I kind of got into that, and then I got distracted. I don't have I can't. I'm just too much up against it as far as the amount of materials I have. Even I could sit around and cut all these trees. I'm pressed a little bit if I want to cut this thing up. And to somehow make a stove in here that takes 80 steel, and then to cap this off to make just a really rudimentary kitchen, like literally a stove, and I would probably throw a torch in here. And then I would go on like a tree cutting spree, and throw a butcher table somewhere out here, just a wooden butcher table, and butcher this bird, and then your meat, the meat that you get from butchering, that has a shelf life that you can sort of work it to where you're not like making them all into meals right away, with the fear that they might be wasted. But normally you alone and just these little bits of food that you're getting, you're able to eat those meals right away, so you don't even care. But yeah, we need to get a makeshift kitchen, and weapons, and then ideally a trap, and then hopefully I don't fall apart. So this bill, in RimWorld, you can make all kinds of different bills and have different like limits, and if you get down to this number of this item, make 100 more or whatever. Like, it's a very intricate system. I really like how it's done. Some of this is probably different because of mods. I have no idea. So if you're accustomed to the game and things are weird, or you're like, what the heck is that? It's just some mod. And if you want to know which one, I mean, I could probably figure it out, but it's not really why I play this game. So we're going to start off with, and think of this like if you were playing an MMO and you start off in a starting zone and you kill the really easy things. You go after the low-hanging fruit. In a lot of games, this is kind of an approach when you're a newbie, when you're a beginner. So we're going to start with one of the easiest things to make. We're going to make 10 stone arrows. And I'm actually... and it only takes like one piece of wood. This is a very a cheap thing to make. So it'd be nice actually to make 20. And so we're going to get a little bit of crafting gain there. Now, when you look at our crafting skill, it's not like we're close to getting up to level 6 anytime soon. But you always want to do things in kind of a staggered way. So you're sort of like spreading out the workload and how you're using up resources. So where was that was 15. So we've got enough for that. And then the knife is 30. So I think a knife and stone arrows. I guess I can't make steel arrows without another better crafting station. So we'll go with the stone arrows, and then we'll make a knife. Actually, how much is a club, even if it's just a wooden club? 40. Damn. Yeah, we'll just make the knife first. It's going to be a crappy knife, but at least we have a blade. Okay. And normally at a certain point you like make these work orders to where your pawns automatically are doing this if it falls within their sort of the work priority list that you set up for them. So what he's going to do is he wants to keep constructing, but I'm going to tell him or her. Normally, for whatever reason, a lot of the pawns that I play in this game when I first start off, they're male characters. And so I just have a tendency to call the pawns that I play him. And like I'll sit there, I'll have all these different pawns, and a lot of them they'll be like females, and some of them are like couples and married and all these things. And I'm sitting there going him, like when I'm thinking about it. And I don't know. I think with clothes, it'll be a little easier. Even though tribal clothes looks the same on both character models. But so I want to get this steel so that I'm able to make a knife and have a little extra. Maybe I won't make a knife, and maybe I'll just make the stove if I can scrounge up just enough for 80. I'll have to look. Yeah, that floor was not what I was hoping for as far as how much steel is in floor tiles. I didn't remember. Making the arrows, that's fine. Nice. And here's our panther who he's kind of like passing out. Let me double check how she's looking fine. Mongoose is going to come over here and punch this thing to death. And the way that you can do that, so you could just click on this thing and say finish off, or you can even save them and I'll heal them and all kinds of stuff and try to tame it. But one thing you do, you draft the pawn, and then you just hit melee attack and go and melee attack this thing to death. It's already dying, and you're going to get a huge bunch of melee. Now, it would have been nice if maybe I should have let this thing suffer for a while just to sort of prolong its like before its shelf life goes bad. But it should be fine because even a panther, I don't think they provide a ton of meat. 77, I mean, that's a lot, but I think that we can eat through that within the amount of time before it goes bad. And if not, it was like free food. So what this does, even though it's kind of like, oh, I wish we could have waited a little bit longer. Now I have sort of an abundance of meat that's kind of borderline if it will go bad or the meals will go bad before I consume them. Maybe a better player would be able to know for sure and to say, oh, you totally have enough time, or you don't have enough time. They would know. But having all this extra meat literally like come right next to our little hut here. And now we can throw this into our stockpile, and we can possibly just finish off a kitchen, find enough steel somehow to make a stove, and that's an issue. And it's like, should I really have made this knife? It's just, I'm always so worried in that first that raid that like I just can lose right away because I don't have the weapons. Oh, I need to haul this. And let's see. And now she is on that that recreation hour, that joy hour, and what I can do is I don't want her to do this, and she has plenty of recreation. Like, she's not, even if I stop her right now and have her do some other things, I'm just going to tell her, get back to work on this knife, finish it off. And she was almost done anyways. And it's a normal knife, so that's nice. And, you kind of expect it. She's a pretty good crafter already. Now we're going to quit this. And we do have a weapon, and I won't quite get into the layout, what are they called again? I think it's a sign. The loadouts. There are, like, you can tell the game, you want every single colonist to have a certain items in their inventory, certain weapons. This is where these mods are very different from the vanilla game, from the normal game, which part of the challenge of the normal game is you are able to I'm trying to think of how to explain this. You have to decide really what you want to carry, and in these mods, there's ways to cheese the system where you're carrying way more stuff, and so you're getting a big unfair advantage as far as the balance of the game goes. If you really care about that kind of thing, this game is like a total sandbox when it comes down to it. Even though there are certain things about it that they work a certain way. It's still really up to you, like how you're handling all this stuff. So, with that said, so we got a good knife. I'm happy about that. And we do have our arrows here. We need our bow. It'd be nice if she could make a normal bow right off the bat, or even a good one. I wonder. I swear there's a different type of ammo for this, and I wish that the tooltip this just doesn't seem like it would be right to use the arrows that we just made. I seem to remember it didn't work that way. Maybe they streamlined it, and maybe they just said, oh, it's too much of a hassle or something. So I guess this is the kind of stuff where not knowing this is really rough, because then I possibly make a big mistake. But I'm going to try to make the recurve bow and see if I can use it with these arrows that I made, or if I'm indeed correct and it was something that oh, what just killed? Oh, the snake. It'll probably eat that whole rat. No, but I don't know if it's a long way to run for a little meal, and I have these two sitting right here, so just probably let it go. Nice, normal. So this is where I get to test, and this could go horribly wrong, but I have to find out. So I am going to make a loadout, and the way, at least with the way the mods are set up that I'm using, you go to current loadout, you kind of like edit it, you can select a loadout. So since I have none, I'm just going to call this loadout. I call them after their names at first, because a lot of times they fulfill different roles in the very beginning, but then when you start to get a lot of similar colonists, you can start to call these loadouts based on more like the role overall that is playing. Now, there are some things in here that actually I like to do. Just for every colonist, it's essentially the same loadout, and then there would be some variation with like their weapons or things like that. Any perishable meal is good to have. Ideally, the colonist is grabbing one that's not going to like go bad as they're holding it. That does happen sometimes, though. So, as I imagine, there's some kind of a mod or a setting that can possibly make that not so much of an issue. But whatever, I don't care enough to really worry about it. The game, it does have your colonist have some drugs on them, because like, again, I sort of alluded to it before, even though it's a little bit goofy or strange, if you think about it, it does make some sense. Some of the raiders will like use drugs right as they show up, and because of the boom, they get an added reflex bonus or whatever. There's just like a so the default suggested stuff, it just has this, but I wouldn't want them to have some kind of really nasty hard drug that can mess them up. So I don't like any drugs. Any medicine, I mean, it would be fine, but in reality, because of us, like the situation we're in, and we are in such trouble without having the heal root unless we grow our own, what we need to do is it's good to have like one herbal medicine on you, because I think it's a combat extended mod. It allows you in maybe an easier way or a different way to like stabilize the wounds of a pawn, and then right after treat them, and that could possibly be like you might use a herbal medicine, and once I start to get a lot of it, I could bump it up to have 2 or 3 on you or something. But in the beginning, I'd be happy just to have 1 with the way things are. The other thing that it's really nice to have every pawn holding in their inventory is this stuff, Psychite Tea, because as soon as a battle happens, like once the enemy come and they're sort of if they're marching on the colony, you like boom, you have all the colonists drink this stuff, and it's not like it makes them super soldiers or anything, but it does give them a little bit more. Excuse me, this chair is old and squeaky. It makes it so they are more alert, I think is the description in the game, or they lose a little bit of their fatigue. It doesn't help a lot, but it gives them a mood boost. I think it might give them a tiny bit of a pain threshold improvement, or mitigating pain or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. It's been a long time since I played this game. So Psychite Tea, awesome to have on another really good thing to have on them if you're lucky enough to get a spawn and it doesn't just all go bad. And this is the kind of thing where if you do it right, you look up what the time limit is for how often they can use this stuff. You can set it up to where like you schedule it to where they eat this stuff from time to time. If you have a big pile of it and it's just going to go bad eventually, you can slowly have them just eat off of it just a little bit, and space it out, and so they don't get addicted to it and they get nice mood boosts. And it's like a free thing that pops up in the map sometimes, as long as you have the time to go and harvest it and haul it, which normally isn't a big deal. You just have to pay attention to when it when it pops up, and there's a whole thing to do with it. And hopefully we get some. I don't know if the rainforest even spawns it. I imagine it does. I think it will spawn in like any kind of map that has growing stuff in it, but not 100% sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this loadout, and that's all good stuff that every colonist would ever have. So I can always come in here and copy this, and even with all the other stuff that I possibly add to it, then I can go through and fix it up to be like for a different colonist and call that a different loadout name. And so, okay, every tribal member in the beginning like this, like ideally what they have is they have this stuff, but we don't have any of that really. And then they need to have, in this case, I'm trying to see if the recurve bow is going to work. And I'm gonna tell my pawn just to carry like 10 arrows with her, and possibly go shoot like little rats or something, like just to get a little bit of a work with the recurve bow. At least have some kind of the thing too is ammo weighs stuff now. Little stone arrows aren't going to weigh much, but I need to test that this bow works with this arrow, because it didn't used to. It was like streamlined stone arrow or something like that. Like there was some kind of a modified name to it, and it only worked with the recurve bow, and you couldn't use the recurve bow without that specific kind of ammo. So I think they must have streamlined this and just combined those into the same, just the stone arrow, which, I mean, whatever. So hopefully, I just clicked away from it. My bad. And so I got the recurve bow with the stone arrow, and then I'm gonna put, and there's this mod. I mean, these icons and the way it filters stuff. It's really nice. Like the people that make these mods for this game are just incredible. There's so many good mods, and I mean, you just have infinite variety in how you can play this game. Really, I mean, okay, there's not, but compared to a lot of other games, even along this lines, the mod community of this game just really shines. What was I thinking? Oh yeah, and so now we need a knife. And if I'm just going to decide, man, if anything's coming up to us and getting close enough to us, we're just going to slice it up and hopefully kill it, because we want stuff to stop quickly and not to get the shit kicked out of us, because if we get any kind of cuts and they potentially get infected, we're going to die. So if something gets up to us, we want to slice them, and hopefully they're the dead ones and not us. But it's still a risk. Like when you go and hunt things, if it's not like a rat or a rabbit, they possibly can fight back, and unless you kill them right away before they hit you, they can, like a single little scratch from a raccoon or even a squirrel can kill you, and it's a joke in this game. Like, I was bested by that squirrel over there. That's like the deadliest squirrel in all this region. But it's really nice that we do have. And now I made that loadout, so I actually have to come into here and click here and put mongoose. So now she wants to have all this stuff in her inventory, and so if she's missing any of it, or if like she uses some of her arrows and then they're just gone, she'll come back and grab some more. And that's why this mod is really cool, because you sort of can make the loadout for what you want your pawns to carry around, and how they arm themselves, and And then, I mean, I'm not going to have enough material to do this, but I do like ultimately a pawn to have a club or a club handy. Just if there's like some instance where we can use a club to possibly like get a prisoner or something. Oh, and she put the knife down, so hopefully after she's done with yeah, she picked it up. Okay. And because she's gonna keep God, that's not an important priority. This is the one thing where that I don't like about construction is you should sort of be able to say, hey, don't repair this stuff, at least for now. Just get her pick all this up. And 30, so we need like 50, I think it is, for a stove. Let me double check. Yeah, we need 50 more. Man, what is this? Marble. This was my bad for when I first got into this map. I didn't even look like, hey, where's all the steel? And watch, there's like none near us. Oh, there's this. God, there's this too. I think this is closer. Yeah. I really hate to be mining, but we gotta mine enough to make that stove. So that's unfortunate. But so what we'll do is before we do that, just let this this material's going into the area it needs to sort of. I'm gonna just clear every item that could be stored in a stockpile, and I'm gonna go into, God, what is this under again? Raw resources, steel, and just enable steel. And then you have this priority box where you can sort of decide at what priority will pawns put stuff into certain stockpiles. Like they will fit. If I put this on a preferred or an important or a critical priority, pawns will put stuff here first. They'll put in this case steel, and then any extra steel that there wasn't any space anymore from in here would go into here. And of course, when you get much bigger stockpiles and are doing this sort of like in a scaled way, it's really important that you have it set up correctly. But right now, with just this tiny little stuff that we're dealing with, we can I think if we harvest 3 of these, if I'm not mistaken, it would be enough. What did I say? We needed 50? Maybe it's only, maybe we can get by with just 2. Unfortunately, she is getting hungry. Man, I don't know. We've got this stupid bird here. 2 more days. I hate to exhaust berries, any kind of plant, to harvest it early when you could get more from it. This one's 98. And that's 97. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, what we'll do... So forget the steel. Oh, it helps if I do this. Alright, so this one... and now I'm going to show in a second like an example where how you... If you're really on top of your game and you were doing things, you know, just right, and there's people that are like super pro at doing this kind of stuff. But so the pawn comes out and harvests that. Now notice, left this one here. Don't do that. Haul that, and then maybe this pawn will pick this up, but a lot of times they'll just walk right by it. So you have to walk right by it. Now, say, hey, stop. Go grab those ones, and now she's going to pick up both. And she's going to go back to this crazy deal that she wants to do. Why don't you eat? Oh, she's going to get her recreation here in a second. So we did get her... hopefully we got her dinner. Come on, eat. What are you doing? Something's weird. Like I'm not sure what I possibly did, but Anyways, that's strange. So tomorrow she's probably going to keep trying to do construction, and I'm going to have to fix that for a second. That is a problem. You have to sort of, when you use this kind of a deal, if you're not going to like directly tell them bit by bit how to do stuff, every now and then you have to come in and change things just a little bit so that they can. I mean, you don't have to change it. In this case, like, I'm really not going to mine a whole lot, so I can just micromanage this. But you would come in if you wanted to do a lot of mining, and you would change mining down like that, and then you would put construction up. Because right now, her construction that she's trying to do is just repairing these walls, and it's not important. So, I mean, it is going to be important that she does construction in a second when I cut when I build the walls out here so that I can put the stove inside there. So I'm going to leave it, but I'm going to wait until she wakes up. I mean, she's doing great on recreation, so I'm going to skip her little her morning joy, and I will go because we want to get this stove and this butcher table going before she's like hungry. Yeah, we need defenses now, and this is where we're like, oh, this is rough. And so one thing we can do is we can just use a normal, we can do like a little crafting spot, but we can do butcher as our crafting spot. The problem is the crafting spot itself, like the butchering spot, just the spot, it gets less meat. And then if you're doing it outside, you're slower. So 1.5 days. I think we can possibly get this done, and maybe even cut a couple more trees and get a trap up. This is what I mean. This is tough because like we have not really, we're not really prepared. And if that raid is most likely to come the next day, I think. And there's people that are hardcore and play this game all the time. And they're like, yeah, it does, or I can't believe he doesn't know this, but we need to. We need to get this still. And possibly build that stove. No, don't do that. Why are you? Oh, because I was supposed to tell you. That is my fault. Oh, I'm gonna mess up. How's this bed doing? It's still 51, so I can leave that just hanging out there, not hurting anything. You can see like this is super slow, and we are on the fastest speed. So this is really just eating away a ton of time. And the problem is 32. So if we do one more, it's going to be enough. But she's already really hungry, and looks like it's berries for dinner tonight, boys. And if I can get 10 from one of these, it's enough for another meal. Yeah, that's what we'll do. It's not the most efficient way. Probably could have done this in a better order for some of these things. But open. Here's that dead rat. Is it still? I'm just going to leave it. I have too much stuff going on. And I want you to merge and then eat these. Come on, eat. I don't like that she... she got food poisoning. That's rough. She'll probably... hopefully she overcomes it before the raid comes. Gosh, now I'm really in trouble. I think the stove is going to have to wait. But it's just, that's one of the things. It's like... Now we really need food because she's going to throw up, and and she's got heat stroke too. Ugh. Here we go. I mean, it's not like bad heat stroke yet, but... And see, this is where right away, like, boom, her mood is going way down because she's in a lot of pain from that food poisoning. And that's why food poisoning is rough, because it causes a big drain to your mood. And the fact that she's going to be hungry, this is because I have the visitors mod enabled, this happens, but I don't have any kind of place for them to stay. So I just say refuse visitors until I have guest beds, and then you can turn it back on if you want. The fact that she doesn't have any food, I'm going to have to go pick those berries again. But yeah, this is tough because, and now she can't haul a very heavy load. What about these ones? Not enough. Eating berries too long. I should have just made a campfire and butchered these on a normal spot. That was a mistake. Got too ahead of myself thinking, oh, let's make a stove. She probably doesn't want to eat another berry in all her life, and here you go. Got to do it though. And yeah, so I don't think that she'll break, but she might. It just shows you like how easy the game can shift on you. Like, oh, it seems everything's great, and then like, boom, this one bad thing got food poisoning. And the big thing is like right here, this walk back. If she can get inside and we can eat those berries, that'll give her a boost not to fall apart on us. But this is going to be tough. Please don't have a break while you eat. Come on, eat, fast. Ugh. And now she'll get rest, and she's still super hungry, but that should be okay in the really short term. Right away, yeah, this is so rough that the only thing we can do here is butcher one of these, and she's gonna like hang out in bed because she's I should have done this before, and now we are in like a bad spot to do this kind of labor. Oh boy. Sorry for the silence. I was just thinking ahead a little bit. Oh, I need to restrict this so she doesn't butcher this one. Okay, and now we got 14 meat, so that's enough to make a meal. And there's a couple ways to do this, but we are sort of like, boom, we need to eat right now because she's going to start like going way down really fast. So we need to make a campfire. I probably should have done this before, but I was like trying to put it off because this is a wasteful use of wood if you're going to make a stove anyways. But we need to make a campfire right away and cook a meal and hopefully not get food poison from that. I don't think you can get food poison while you have food poison, but knowing this game, you probably can. And then you have like double food poison, and then you're like really screwed. What am I looking for? Where is this? I don't even remember. This is like temperature. We're just gonna have the campfire out here. Be nice if it wasn't like right next to our stuff, but we have the wood right here, so we're just gonna throw that in there. And now we add a bill and we make a meal real quick, and it's gonna prioritize this meat. There's a better way you can set all these cooking things up and everything, but I'm just like in a super hurry because she's already like super hungry. Good, she made a meal. She's gonna go eat it, and this will help as long as she doesn't get sick from this. Good. And now we got 54, and there's how much over here? 35 more. Gosh. We have 89, so if she can carry... Oh, okay, she's feeling better. Good. And nope, you don't go to do that. You're going to build a fueled stove. A little bit of a weird shape than... different shape than the one I'm used to. I guess I'll do it this way. And I don't really have the wood to spare right now to make a stool to sit at when I'm at the stove, but she's not going to be, and nobody's going to be cooking enough to really justify that anyways. The big challenge right now is getting enough wood to either, we could use steel, but I'd hate to use steel in that way. We'll only have a tiny bit of it anyways left over after this. I hope she doesn't screw the stove up, because then we got to run all the way back and get some more steel. And it's likely that she might, because it's just the way things go sometimes. So I do need to go into structure and adjust this wall, and I think, and I gotta do a bush, great. And a door is obviously very expensive as far as wood goes. So now this is where, if we can do this quick, and it's really tough to pull off. We only have like half a day left. We need to cut, and we need to find. It obviously it'd be oh, there's a mature tree, so that's nice. But I think that's bamboo, so it's not a ton of wood. Yeah, and those aren't very high wood trees. They do have wood, but they're sort of let me double check just to make sure I'm not. Yeah, this is the one that was only like what was it? 18. Huh. A bamboo I don't think is much better. 10. I think they changed some of this stuff, possibly. Maybe not. Maybe it's just my ignorance. Teak tree. So it's gonna. I guess the teak trees are like this BAPS version of the oak, but they're probably less dense as far as wood goes, and probably faster growing. I could just look at that, but it gets a little tedious. This one's ready to harvest, but it's far. But we're gonna just be pulling the wood down here anyways to make that wall. 100% grown. So, and is this one? Yeah, we're gonna get rid of these ones because we don't want to run in this direction. There's stuff up here that is full grown, and there's a lot actually. So I don't know if I need all that out there. These two are fine. Oh, there was one up here. Is it this one? Yeah, and there was one. For whatever reason, it didn't think that was 100% grown. It's probably like 99.5 or something like. It's really close, so I'm just going to chop it too. So we got a little bit of source of wood here, and now again, and this is sort of just planning because I know I'm going to construct here anyways, and I'm going to eventually create this zone to put the corpses of the animals into, and so I make the stockpile zone, but in the very beginning, I'm just going to tell her, hey, the wood needs to go there, like where we're going to build the kitchen. So when she goes to chop these trees and brings this wood back, she'll put it here, and then she'll, boom, put it right into the walls and the door. And it might not be enough, but maybe with the 17 here, it'll be enough. I don't know. And if it's not, then we're kind of like, if we see, oh, it's not going to be enough, we can sort of stop her and then chop one of these trees down here that were full grown, and that probably should make the difference. So we'll let her. Oh, she just loves working on those, fixing those walls. Very diligent. She isn't a bad pawn. There are some weaknesses, but you know, there are times when I've tried to do this sort of stuff, and I had no idea what I was doing, and like the pawns that I would try to play with would be like really it's like I had no business even trying with those, and so I think I've learned a little bit just from like being really oh, I see what she's doing. Whoops, that was my mistake. I left everything enabled. I need to just turn on wood and call it preferred, because she was going to start bringing everything out here. So I'll tell her to take this back. My mistake. All right, now she's going to take that wood out there and hopefully, yep, start making stuff. Hope she doesn't botch anything. It's not... Oh, a mad tortoise. Are you kidding me? God damn it. Here's RimWorld, right? Like, so we're trying our best. We're just scrambling to do what we can, and then it just rains on your parade with this crap. Now, and we already sunk all that wood into these walls, and I think if I cancel it, we don't get it back. Let me see. We get this stuff back, but the ones we actually made, we don't. And oh, there's 55 here. What am I doing? A wood trap is not going to be strong enough. God damn it. So that's kind of like, it's not a raid, but that was an AI sent event, most likely. So 45 on this trap. This just going to be wasted, and the tortoise is probably going to just maul us. And then we used all our wood on something that wasn't so helpful. Technically, if you have a mad animal like that, you can hide indoors until they sort of wear themselves out, and then they leave. But the problem is we don't have the food really. I mean, we can mess around and like kind of have a little bit of meat and wait a day or two, but I don't think that's going to be enough time for that tortoise to get tired. So that's a bummer. We'll see how it goes. It might be the game over already. Happens sometimes. So and there could have maybe been some better choices on my end how to play things. But that's kind of what this game is about. Where it's like when something like this happens, you go, "Oh, I should have done that," and hopefully you learn some things. But really. Where is he, by the way? He's probably like already up on me and I don't even realize it. I think I can look under wildlife and find him. Yeah, there he is. So where are you, Mr. Tortoise? Here he comes. Oh man, this little bastard. And I mean, I have all these trees going to be in the way of if I'm trying to shoot him with an arrow. I think I'm going to let her... Maybe she can run out here and sneak in and then try to survive this thing in here. This is what a deal. All right, so yeah, I'll have her come out here and then run inside. Hopefully the tourist didn't see me. Now take her off draft. Well, I need to tell her, hey, you can't go outside anymore. Whoops. No more outside. And we're going to enable this, and we're going to butcher another animal. This will give us a lot of meat, so I mean, we can live in here for probably enough time. It's just like, it's an unfortunate thing, because if that raid comes right after the tortoise is cleared, we're sort of we're a little bit caught with our pants down, but we are anyways in this sort of a scenario. Hey, the fact we have a weapon and a knife, and we have a couple meals in here with us, that's not bad. So it's not like you know, that it's bad already. Oh, and she's not going to cook because the fire's out here. Oh, I almost thought of putting it inside, but I didn't want the heat trapped inside here where we sleep. What a pity. Where is this tortoise at, you stupid thing? It's kind of running out of food. That's eventually when its food gets down to 0, and it kind of like, it forces it to just conk out, and then it will come back, and it won't be this little prick that it is right now. Yeah, and he's gonna run around and be a pest, and I can't go out there and cook my dinner. I might have to eat this raw meat. She's gonna be low. She's gonna try to sleep. So this is where it's kind of like a choice where you wake her up and you eat some of this raw meat, but that's going to give her a debuff, and that could send her in a spiral. She might go in a spiral anyways if you don't do that, because if her food starts to get low enough and she's low recreation and low food, even though she's gaining rest and she's kind of comfortable in this bed probably. It's going to be rough. That's probably the best course of action, to do that, to just let her sleep, and hopefully by the time she wakes up, oh, he's already he hit the trap, and it did its job. I can't believe that. I always should have expected it to do that. I don't know though. I don't have enough experience with some of these things, and I know, and from past, tortoises can be like surprisingly tanky. Maybe that trap just got him right in his little head or something. And you can even here's a funny thing. Okay, I hardly ever do this, but this game, in all these little events that happen, these dice roll, when you click on like the characters or the animals even, or the raiders, you can look up a log, and it will tell you exactly what happened. Or if your colonist dies somehow, like it's shot, it will say it was shot through the heart. A stab in the rear left leg made the tortoise drop helplessly. A spiky trap stabbed the tortoise, penetrating his shell. So this thing, like, the tortoise walked over it, and the very back leg of the trap, or the trap, like, just nailed the tortoise's back leg, and probably like got into its shell. So it's very cool that the game has it sort of set up to where, like, every little event like that will sort of generate some kind of a log like this. And this is the source of, I mentioned it in, I think, the previous video, where when you have a colonist who's a really good artist, or even a really good constructing colonist that can make like tables and furniture, sometimes if they make like a really good example of a piece, it'll have artwork on it. And the artwork can be goofy. It can say like, there are 3 lines and a group of flamingos flying over the horizon, or just some goofy description. Or it'll just say like a bunch of abstract lines or something. But maybe it will say like, the carving shows a spiky trap stabbing a tortoise in the early days of the colony, or whatever. It might not be that detailed, but it's cool that the game, it draws from these random little things that happen like that. And now that is just something so small. It's just a tortoise that stepped on one of our traps, and of course we were cowering in here like, oh god, the tortoise is going to come get us, and then the thing just died right away. Now yeah, this is where, like, do you wake her up and make this food real quick, eat something, and then go back to sleep, or do you let her sleep a little bit and then get up and make something and eat something and probably go back to sleep? You can see how, like, being recreation starved now is going to really hurt. And so here's one thing that the game does, and I didn't understand this when I first started playing it at first. And these bars, they'll either be filling up or they'll be going down, depending on, like, if you're standing in a pretty place, if you're sitting in a comfortable chair, if you are talking with another colonist that you like. This bar will either, like, get a bunch of buffs and it will start to, like, slowly fill up, or if a whole bunch of bad shit starts happening at once. Like you can see right now, she's drowsy, which is essentially like she's really tired. Her recreation is unfulfilled. We had her like running around because this tortoise was coming, and we didn't let her like relax any, so she's stressed on that way. She's uncomfortable, likely because that's the temperature. Nudity, there is a trait for nudist, and that kind of a pawn will be happy. Happy to be nude, while most of the time pawns will be unhappy. So if you can give them clothing, it takes away a pretty big debuff. Even if I can't remember, but if you kill a raider and you strip their clothes off their dead body, the game calls that tainted apparel, like it's been tainted, it's been worn by a dead body, so your colonist won't want to wear it. Just imagine, like, the person that died in it, they like were bleeding really bad, so there's like blood stains all over it or whatever. Even if it was quote unquote clean, it would still be like, ugh, who wants to wear that? Somebody died in it. I saw that person die right there, and now you want me to wear that? But I think if you're facing naked or tainted apparel, or you can pick the tainted apparel, and it's only like maybe a -4 debuff. I'm not so sure about that. We'll see, because we'll likely have hopefully a raider come and do just what this tortoise did, while we don't even have to do anything. I'm not really at the stage where I want to be fighting a bunch of stuff, because we are like we're still, if we can at a certain point like get enough scraps of leather together to make ourselves a little like tribal wear poncho type thing, we'll be doing great. So we're gonna let her sleep some. The nice thing about sleep, and I think that her hunger goes down a little bit slower when she's asleep. I'm not totally sure about that. Now, she's up. She's had plenty of rest. She's still really recreation starved. Middle of the night, but we're gonna get her to get up and make herself a meal. And to eat. And I think that once she does that, she'll get a huge boost by suddenly having food in her belly and then going back to bed. And when she wakes up, she's gonna be good on these 2 bars. She's gonna be really bad on this bar, but that's fine. Typically your pawns will be able to handle that. They don't handle being hungry or being really tired very well. Probably being hungry is the worst. Being tired is second worst. And being recreation unfulfilled, I mean, I'm not saying it's not that bad, but it's you can withstand it if you have the other 2 bars filled up. You can probably withstand any of these being really low if the other 2 bars are filled up. But it's like this is part of the resource management of the actual game, and a lot of people miss it when they play. If they're like me and they're a casual player, it took a while until I started to kind of understand this, and I'm not like great at it or anything. But you have to be thinking of like what factors are going to cause this type of stuff to happen, and how are you mitigating it, and is it a good use of your time? And there's all kinds of like cost benefit analysis that goes into playing a game like this well. And I'm not I'm a decent contingency planner in some instances, but this game taxes me to the point to where like I just can't keep track of all the things. Now this thing is going to bleed out in 7 seconds. We're going to let that happen. She's going to sleep. She's feeling great now. I'm going to take him off of that. What happens is when an animal dies, like just out in the wild, it'll be restricted. Like the game automatically puts this little red X here, meaning that it's not allowed for you to go and pick this up. And the reason it does that is like, imagine if some animal died like way over here, and it was like it was set to haul. Well, she might run all the way from here over to there just to pick up some little animal and then bring it back, and it would totally not be worth it. So it is good that the game does this, but the nice thing is it's like whenever it's really close, and you should, like, I probably don't do it enough, but you should like be looking, like always scanning us over the general radius around your little settlement. Zooming way out is nice, because then you get these little icons to kind of show you there's where the animal is. You zoom way in, oh, it's only a rat, no big deal. That could be like something we go practice, we shoot at. Here's one of these nasty birds, we don't want any part of that. A turtle and a snake, not really fans of fighting those, but we do have a rat. If we can go kill that before one of these things do, that'd be great. I don't know if the birds kill stuff. I think in real life, obviously, like a big giant ostrich would probably eat a snake or something. So maybe some of that stuff happens. I don't know. I don't know the wildlife in this game that well. And they change stuff a little bit. I don't think they have in recent time, but I don't think these might just be sort of like the reskinned ostriches or whatever, and they're kind of the equivalent. But this is a really nice source of food right here. If we want to come out here at some point, it's far, but if we do get like a second pawn, if these things are still on the map, these are really easy to kill, and they're quick. And how much is their meat again? I should know like right where I'm looking when they pull these minis up, but it's just been so long. I kind of I pull this stuff up and I'm like, where the heck is the number I'm looking for? And it's like probably right there in front of my face, and I'm just like, what is going on? Why is this thing? I do not understand. Am I like just blind or? Me. Oh, God, third one down. Look at that. Blind as a bat. 63 meat, so 6 meals likely, if as long as our butchering is done well. And we really won't be a good butcher at first, but it is good that we're at least butchering some stuff. We're not getting the kind of skill that that we really should if we had a proper butchering table. But we have sources of food around, and we have these three and a half meals right here. And we've got this little Shelly boy out here, and he's not. You don't get a whole lot of meat from a turtle. I think you get like 1 meal worth, if I'm not mistaken. Like maybe it's like 11 or something like that. Oh, meat 45. What? Shows you what I know. God, what am I thinking of? Maybe it's like rats or squirrels or something. But anyways, you can see like she's doing great on these ones, and she's almost getting to the point where she's going to get up and do something to relax. I need to, if I can get some more wood, I need to build her a hoop stone like ASAP, because she needs a different way to build up her recreation. I think that's she's not taking advantage of it when she can. She did get a boost in her construction. That's nice. I'm just going to let her finish this because I'm so tired of her doing this over and over again. And I'm going to make another meal. Come on, come on. Oh man, her recreation. So ideally, if I can, oh, and great, the fire's out. I do need wood. Is she walking? No, she's wandering. So she's this little icon means she doesn't have any things to do. Well, I do know there's some full-grown trees over this way, so I will go back to that to order and chop mature trees. There's 1, there's 2. Oh, they're not very high yielding. There's 3. Oh boy. And then we'll have her take this one and then this one. So we're kind of in the same boat as we were before. She's going to have food, but she's going to be upset because, again, no recreation fulfilled. That's why we got to get that hoop stone built. How much wood did we have left? 28. I think that's enough. I think you only need a little bit. 20. So, when the this is sort of a little bit gamey, but when the raiders come, especially the beginning ones, a lot of times they will beeline to like some kind of an object that might be outside, an object of status in a sense, like that. That's like something that shows that there's a colony here. And in this case, like I think the AI is like sort of programmed to favor to attack things like hoop stones or horseshoe pins or things like that. And so what I want to do is I'm going to build this here, and that because I can stick my head out this door, I probably want to make a passageway between these two, but I don't really have the materials to do that right now. But I can build this hoop stone here. I can rebuild a trap. I'm going to need more wood. And then if a raider comes, I can sort of like at a certain point be out here and take a couple shots at them if they were coming from this direction, retreat back, and maybe they will sort of like aggro on this horseshoe pin, and then I can stand in this. I can like pop out of this doorway, shoot them with an arrow, possibly pop back in, and they might trigger the trap, or maybe like get out and get them with a knife or whatever. There's something you can do here, but the problem is these trees, which, I mean, ready to harvest, great, because we need wood. So some of these, maybe it's like I'm not going to get anything from them, but I almost want to cut them down just to have a little bit more of a clear field of shooting out. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to shoot out of this door. I'm going to stand in this door, and there's sort of like this where I might be shooting towards. And so if I can get trees out of the general field of that view, or I think I'll go with these 3 trees first. And okay, she ate. Good. She's relaxing socially, so good. It's not a great way to earn your recreation, but it's a big boost to her right now, and she's going to be fine now. Now she'll get these trees. Hopefully she'll have right there. She'll make that hoopstone. Nope, she's going to. Just wondering, why is she not constructing this? Where did all that wood go? I must have missed something, and I was like spacing out or something. Maybe she had to put it in this passive cooler. No, that's down to 39. Oh, she probably put it in here. Yep. All right, so one other thing we can do, because we got that wood stove just sitting out in the outdoors, because it's not roofed. Where is it zone? Yeah, see, this is me like just kind of forgetting where things are. And one thing that's cool that you kind of should know if you're not really familiar with this game, is over here in these icons. This icon here will show you where there are roofs, and it's good to know, because if you start digging into the side of a mountain and there are like things above you, these light colored green, it can collapse on you if there's not like the support isn't correct around it. The dark colored green is like really deep rock type stuff, so you're burrowing into the mountain, then like almost like at a downward trajectory. You're not going to be able to remove those green or those dark green roofs, because you're like subterranean. So we have now we have a enclosed kitchen. It's nice. I don't think we can get a whole lot of use of it right now. Oh, cargo pods. I must have missed this, and it's been sitting out here. This is nice. If I had like a advanced caravan come, I could sell these to them and get some silver. The thing is, I think my mods possibly messed up something about that, because I noticed when the mods loaded, or when I was just starting this out and getting it set up, there was like a big thing with like no trade caravan, like over and over again. You could see it on one of those menus. So I might have to go in and fix something. And maybe this save is already borked anyways, because I screwed that up, or the mod is sort of a little bit incompatible, or I don't have it set up right. But this game is it's not bad to like start like this and just show a little bit, and then maybe try something different. But I still am gonna give it a go, because hey, I learned something. I learned that you don't have a heal route in these kind of maps, as a sort of counter all this stuff everywhere. So we will we're going to chop wood, like not the mature one, just anything that can be chopped in this this general yeah, those ones too. That's good. I think ideally, like, you would clear out these ferns too, because I think I'll have to double check, but they have a I don't really need these ones. That they have a percentage of cover. Okay. Speaking of which, in this game, if you don't know, objects like this chunk of slate, this kind of boulder, it has attributes, and you find those out by clicking this information button, and you go in, and it tells you like it has this much hit points, and some of the stuff is you think, oh, why does that really matter? Because with the combat extended mod, I think maybe in the normal game too, maybe it's a slightly different system, but it's still there. this is cover. This, like, you can have a pawn stand behind this, and they will get sort of like a defense boost as far as like incoming ranged attacks. Um, it helps you to sort of use cover when you don't have any better way. Like, there are people that know how to build stuff that's really well done. And it's sort of like, you think they're almost like a Maginot line or whatever. Like, if you're thinking of like fortified, there's like almost pill boxes, kind of a sense of things. Like, there's sandbags, and people do some really cool stuff. And it's way beyond me. But this, and a tree is also amount of cover. Now that other one, they did change this. Or no, they didn't. Here's cover effectiveness 25%. So for any kind of trees, it's like, it's a little bit of cover. You know, they're like kind of hiding behind a tree, and then they sort of, they bend around it and shoot at you, and then they hide again. So they're getting a little bit of cover if you're shooting back, and that disrupts your accuracy and your ability to hit them, and the fatality of when you do hit them. Slate chunk, I don't know why it's not saying it, but these give cover as well. All little stone boulders like this, at least they used to, and I believe it was 50% was the number of cover that they give. Now that seems good, and that is nice for just junk that's laying around. But you have to be aware that, like, your enemies can use it against you because it's just out here and it's not sort of facing the right directions. So one of the kind of an intermediate a menial task that you need your pawns to do when you're sort of setting up an initial footprint is you sort of take some of this stuff and you set it up in a way to, like, if something's coming and they're at least coming from the right direction, your pawn has a way to, like, run and get behind something and maybe get a couple of really good shots off and be safe doing it, and then they can fall back at a certain point. Like, when the enemy maybe is getting too close, is going to overrun that position, they can fall back, and, like, they could run back into this doorway and shoot back out, and maybe if all this stuff is clear here, it's a nice clear field to shoot through. But unfortunately, the enemy might come up, and if these were still here, the enemy might, like, just stand here and shoot arrows at me, and then I would have to duck inside to let the door close, and then the enemy would, like, want to run up and probably attack this, or maybe attack the door, and then you're kind of into the close combat where you're equipping the knife. You're gonna, like, fight it out that way, or you're potentially, like, trying to induce them into to triggering this trap. One way to do that is, like, if an enemy is coming from this direction, from, like, up here or this side, and you had a trap right there, you can, whatever your position is, where you're sort of, like, firing at them a little bit and they come at you, as long as you're fast, you have to, like, look at your information, and it does tell you what your ground speed is. One of these does. Oh man, it's I love this game, but when you're away for so long and you don't remember where certain menus are that you used to be able to, like, just without even thinking about it, open up. Maybe isn't there a speed? Here I am again. I'm looking for something that's probably, like, the second thing down or the third thing down. Oh, right there. Gosh. She's fast. It helps that she's, like, totally naked, and all she's carrying is a bow, a few stone arrows, and a knife. She's fast though, so what's nice about that is she can kite as long as the enemy is slower than, like, say 4. I would have there's players that can probably do it like pros and know how just to wiggle around and move and get the AI to do weird stuff. But imagine, like, a raid comes. I know that this is coming from this direction. I have a trap right here. She can run up and like, get behind this cover. And as long as this is an enemy that doesn't have a really good, like, long range weapon to sort of rain down fire on her, like, if they have a rifle or if they have, like, a comparable bow and they're a better shot, it might not be a good gamble to bring her out here and to to fight them in like this sort of like back and forth, because she is lacking in her range. It's nice that if we have something that comes and it's some kind of a melee with just like a crappy melee weapon, and they're sort of slow, and maybe they're not well armored. If she can run out here and get behind us and take 2 or 3 shots at them, maybe she misses, but maybe she gets one, and it probably wouldn't kill them, but it would at least injure them and like make them slower. And sometimes like it injures their arms, so then when they do melee fight, they're not as good at it, or it injures their legs, so they're not as good at dodging or whatever. But when that hopefully they get hit once, and it sort of staggers them, and it gives her a little bit more time. She can run down, and she can do one of 2 things. She can go in, like if this is a melee kind of a enemy, she can run into this door and keep shooting, and then possibly duck in there and let the door close. And even if the melee enemy destroys the door, it's possibly the enemy's bled a little bit more if it was bleeding. So you're giving just a little bit more time for them to weaken. Might not make a difference, but what can you do? But or she can kind of run to this corner here and take some pot shots, and then the AI might run towards her, and she can sort of do a little Benny Hill thing where she runs around this building, and the AI keeps looping after her and then leads it right into the trap. Stuff like that. You can do it from different angles. Like if you're responding to something over here, you're possibly just running up to this little group of boulders and shooting. You in the very beginning, when you don't have the time and you're just a single pawn, your best bet, in my opinion, and with as little as it can work for you, sometimes it really works against your advantage. But you try to use what's around, like what's right around your little settlement, and you try to use that and not let it be used against you. And fortunately, your structure is kind of like a way that ultimately, as long as you're kiting and you're falling back quickly enough, you're going to run through, and you're going to be able to use this as like sort of a way to confound the AI. So it gives you an advantage just to have something built, and to sort of know how to move around in a fight. I'm not that great at it, but against normally the first wave, which most of the time is pretty easy, it's not bad. Now, we have a little bit of a problem when we got some of these like animals that died. It gave us some leather, and this does give us a little bit of a boost in our wealth. So that's problematic, and of course we have this bed too, even though it's nothing special. It's still, normally at this stage we would be sleeping on the floor, if that, and we wouldn't necessarily have this much leather. So we've got a stove built even, and now it's like, can we even get to use it before the raid really comes? What does she add again? All right. So here's the way this can work. There's probably plenty of different ways, but this is sort of a makeshift kitchen. It won't be like this for the long term, but it's just a way to like enclose the kitchen, and she can she has a spot to cook in. And I need to finish the floors in here, or it's going to be dirty. There's a whole other thing about rooms and about all flooring and all kinds of, like, so if I hover over this, right, it tells me, oh, this is an awful kitchen. It's not very nice. It's got these damaged walls. It's got this wooden wall. It's got a dirt floor, and it's got just a stove in it. So it's like, it's not someplace you'd want to be. It'd be like slaving away in some little dank little room with like a 100-degree stove going. And she's going to be hot if she's in here. Like, already it's 100 degrees outside. She probably is like borderline heat stroke. And if she tries to cook right now, she's going to get hot. So I'm going to avoid that for the immediate term. And what we need to do while we still can, she's wondering. So again, cut more wood. Yeah, we'll cut these. I think I said before, but she's a nice pawn. I was sort of just picking one to get moving before, and there is a point to where you don't want to be like just re-roll over and over again and give yourself an unfair advantage. Oh, I meant to say, so I reduced this stockpile just a little bit, and the reason I did that was I wanted to make, if you click on a different stockpile that's like separated physically from the current stockpile that you want to sort of add adjacent to, if you click on here, oh, it helps if I actually, what am I doing wrong here? Oh, there we go. So I need to expand. I'm going to expand, and when I click at that spot, what happens is this is a whole new stockpile, and you can even name these and get all elaborate with it. I'm not going to do any of that stuff right now because it's too much micromanagement for such a temporary kind of a setup. But we will go into the storage, and we're going to decide like what we want to be there. And most important thing for me, because this is a wood stove, throw wood in there, and this is going to be the critical spot where all our wood goes, because we want it to be right next to the stove. Ultimately, we could make a second one of these piles just next to here to crafting when we need to make more arrows, and possibly another bow or whatever. Hopefully, we're beyond that point of having to make another second inferior weapon like that. The recurve bow is not terrible for tribal start kind of things, but obviously, as soon as you can get something else, like even if it's a pistol or a 6-shooter or something, it's a big game changer as far as protecting yourself. You still might need the bow and the arrows though for hunting, which is like why sometimes it's nice to have a nice quality one. But so she's gonna move all this wood into this this spot, and it's gonna be our wood pile for to fuel the stove. And then we're gonna change this stockpile from wood into this is where we want all of our meat to go, our butchered meat. And ultimately we're gonna like make a butcher table probably right out here, and it's going to be just out in the open, which is not good, not efficient. But that takes a decent amount of wood, so we're not there yet. But we can make this all what was I saying before? Oh, meat, yeah. So I scroll down, I go to I think it's foods, raw foods. And you don't want to just pick, I believe, you don't want to pick just meat, because that will include human meat and insect meat. So you can select all, and then you find, we don't want human meat, we don't want insect meat, and I think there was one other one that's not a bad thing to avoid eating. Maybe it's just those two. Anyways, so I got that all set up. And now this stockpile, any of these meats that come from butchering down here are going to get added to here, and they're going to be right next to the stove. And now I'm going to make a bill in the stove. Another cool thing with this mod, I think it's the mod that you can do. So let's say you have a bill that you really like it's all set up a certain way, it triggers at a certain way. I'll explain some of how these work, by the way, too, later. You can copy these, and then you can paste them to a similar workstation. So we have a quote-unquote stove down here, a campfire, and the campfire is a interesting thing. It can keep you warm in really cold climates. It gives light, and it provides a social spot, like the pawns will gather around it and talk, and it provides heat. Of course, if you're in a cold spot, but unfortunately in a hot area, it's a problem that it provides heat. And it's an inferior way to cook. I think that it takes like more wood for the amount of what it does and what it provides. It's great if you need a source of heat to be able to cook from it as well. But yeah, this is meant to be a real stopgap thing. Boom, you made a real rudimentary meal with your campfire. And it's not a good long-term solution at all. I just did it in a pinch because she was like starving, and we just needed to. Like I didn't have enough time to wait until I got this done. And so I can go into the stove, and remember I copied that simple meal order, and I can come up here and put paste, and there it is. Now that doesn't seem like much because it's just cook a simple meal, and there's not a lot to that order. And I'm going to delete the other one because it's like useless now, so she doesn't run back and forth. But the cool thing about these orders too, and I think this is true to the game, like the production stations work this way regardless of mods. Not 100% sure in any of that stuff. When you create a bill, you can go into the actual details of how this works, and you can be very specific. What I mean by that is, let me get this in a spot where we can see it happen. One of the nice sliders in this menu is, so right now we're telling this stove, or we're telling the pawn, come whenever you want to cook, you come to this stove and you make one simple meal, and you can grab the meat from anywhere on the whole map, because you're saying unlimited radius. So like if there's a little pile of meat way on the other side of the map, and that's the only pile of meat that would work for that meal, she will go and run and grab just what she needs to cook that one meal, come and cook it, and then she might even go run all the way back. And it's just so you don't want to do that. In the beginning, it doesn't really matter because like the little bits of things that you're creating and doing, they're all like in a really small radius anyways. But ultimately, when you are setting up this kind of stuff, you want to kind of set up a system where, yeah, she's going to take every little bit of meat into the stockpile, and then you have a radius for that order that's like, it includes just that stockpile. And so now anytime that meat gets put into this area and there's a pawn available to cook, they'll come over here and they'll cook simple meals, if you set it up to do it like sort of like continuously, or to do it to a certain number. Now she is she's just one pawn, and we're trying to be really like cagey about how we're using this meat. Like, this meat is still good for a day, but we want to just make it into meals, because then those are going to be good for like 2 days or something like that. I can't remember. Maybe it's like 1.6 days or something. But it extends the life of the perishable food if you cook it, and then you can let it sit for a little while. So then you don't have to go and butcher this thing until maybe a day later. What I'm going to do is tell her cook 2 of these meals. I like in the very beginning to just sort of keep it real short and simple for some of this stuff. So she's doing it and getting it done, and then she's got food on hand. Another thing you can do, but I'm not going to do it, is you can set it up to where once she cooks a meal, she'll set it down in a certain place. Actually, I do need to do that, because otherwise she's going to, like, I can tell her to drop it on the floor. That works. Drop on floor. That should be okay. All right, we'll let her finish this real quick. Good, she's hauling. Good job. And why did she want to haul that one? What is it about this that's wrong? Is there something wrong? I don't think so. Okay, now we have plenty of wood. And we're going to build another one of these, because when your pawns work, in particular, like when they're doing a craft or an activity, they like to be in light. It improves their proficiency as well. They work faster. They learn better. Oh, she's going to haul the meat. That's great. Perfect. Now do that. And now I want you to build a lamp. Come on. There we go. And now she's going to make these meals. And she'll probably haul this wood eventually. She has heat stroke, but she's going to go and eat one of these meals, I think. Right? Oh, she's relaxing socially. Good job. Now the next thing we're going to do is, oh, she's already kind of ready to do the hoop stone. I need to get that trap back up. That's a big thing. Oh, and what just died? Something little. Ah, it's a snake, man. I don't. That's a bummer to have that around too. Even though they're like, I can probably kill it with one arrow shot or some sort of a thing like that. They're dangerous. Obviously. So I think so. I mean, it's not like I have tons and tons of experience. Oh, that's one thing. Damn it. I needed to tell her to not keep putting wood in that thing. Damn. And what does she have on her? She does have a simple meal. So when she wakes up now, because she's got that in her inventory, she'll stand right up. She'll come over to the stool. She'll sit down and she'll eat. And that's great. And then she's going to go run up and grab this other simple meal. And then this meat is sort of getting there, but I need to possibly get enough wood to finish this trap and or this hoopstone and finish a trap. And then build a butcher table. So we're kind of getting behind on some things. And that's unfortunate. We'll see if we survive. It's a little bit tough. That food poisoning was... I mean, maybe I should have done more to prevent it, but been a little more like on top of getting a campfire up and just cooking those berries. But they're just... berries they're generally pretty safe. So it's kind of like you really don't want... Okay, she's going to get recreation this way. I don't mind it. I mean, she's good on recreation, but we do need her to fill up. Come on, you got to get this stuff done, though, because we are that raid. Yeah, at least get that trap up. And good, we got that hoopstone deal up. Now, I'm going to also add to this pile any animal corpses. And she's going to haul that in there. Maybe not. Maybe maybe it's the same priority level. What's this priority level? Why can't I click on this? Oh, it's because of the stock bones. I see. My mistake. I made it small. Okay, it will. She will haul it now. All right, and so I think, is it 80 that a butcher table needs? 95, damn it. That's a lot. Maybe I'm just better off butchering that thing by hand. That's unfortunate. I didn't realize it was that expensive. That's a lot. So we will take off corpses and get her to set that down. And then go haul it back and go ahead and butcher it. And now, so we've got three meals here, and this needs to be used quickly. So I'll refuel the stove, and I need to tell it. I might as well just make 3 meals because I think she'll eat those in time, and that will make sure to get rid of that meat that's about to go bad. That's the thing with this game too. Like, you have to kind of watch for when this meat is just about to go bad, and so you don't miss out on a meal. It's not the end of the world if stuff like that happens, and I probably make plenty of mistakes that I don't even realize as far as missing those kinds of things. But it still is a very good players. Like, they see all that stuff coming. They're really good contingency planners, where some of us are like mere humans and we're just like, whatever's going on, if you say so. I'd really like this raid to come. I hate to say that. I mean, that might be famous last words, but we're kind of I mean, I guess I can run out here and just kill something easy. Might as well grab this rat. It's right there. Oh, I don't have a space. That's one of the problems with being in such a confined space here. And you can't properly like copy bills of these like lower end production stations, so they're a real pain to move around. But I need to do this anyways because it was sort of in an incorrect spot. And now I can go into this stockpile, because what happens is if you break the connection between a single stockpile and then you make a break in it, only one part of the stockpile will remain an active stockpile and the other end will just be like empty floor, and so then you sort of have to rebuild it. And there I got some storage spaces back, and now she'll be able to haul that rat because now there's space for it. So go grab that. That freaking cobra. I don't really know how bad those things are, but like I don't want to tangle with weird stuff I don't really know about. Got 3 meals, so. And how long until this thing spoils? Oh, 2 days. So we're gonna put a restriction on it for a moment. Let me try to research this a little bit and see. Yeah, toxic venom. That's great to know. They are. It is slower than me, but that doesn't say much. Those things, when things are attacking you, they can still move pretty quick, and you're sort of reacting slowly. Man, I just don't. I don't want this thing like right here, right next to me. And like it's on the wrong side of my base, so I couldn't even use this trap if I was going to. This might be a famous end to like something that didn't even properly get started, but we will try to shoot this thing. When you use combat extended, you can change the kind of the rate of your shots and to what extent they work. Oh, he's too close even. Are you kidding me? Or maybe my rating is just too low. So this is this thing's too close. I need to put some distance between us, but with a plan. I mean, this is still so dysfunctional. I guess I can hit it once, maybe. At least we get a little bit of practice. Oh no, it's way out of range. Nice. Didn't aggro us yet. Come on, Snaky. Die, die, die. How close? One condition. We cut out its eye, so it's going to be a little less accurate if it does melee attack us. Oh, it's coming for us. Okay, now it's getting really close. And so we're going to snapshot, which is sort of like a rapid fire shot. Nice. So that went off a lot better than I thought it might. We can melee attack this thing to death, get a little bit of melee experience for it, barely any. And now we can haul this. Can we? Why is it? Oh, it's because I still have my drafted status going. So that was nice. Got rid of like a pesky thing around. We're down to like 2 spare arrows. We have 20 in our inventory, but we do need to make more. But we need wood for mainly for butcher table, so that when we actually start butchering stuff now, we get the full amount for it. Even if it's outside, it's still better than using this little crappy thing here. So we need to look. I would like to build it right there. Or even like right here along this wall. That's a good spot, really, because it's like literally right next to going into the kitchen. Oh, that reminds me, I need to pave the kitchen floor, so I do need a lot of wood. Here we go again. Chop some wood. Nice. This should be kind of along those lines. So, and I will go ahead and put try to think of the priority here. It would probably be to get the floor clean, because we can still butcher some things in here and take them to get and yeah, building with wood is it's a bad thing long term. There are some people that build with wood, certain structures and stuff. It's a temporary material though, obviously, and it's flammable, so there you go. But it is really nice when you are beginning any kind of a game of RimWorld, especially if you have a pawn that has a lot lower construction than she does. building things out of wood can be a quick way to boost your construction ability, because building walls, even if you screw up on them, you still get some gain from that. And typically, as long as you have enough of the material, you can slap together stuff really quickly. Like you can build a table, you can build a stool, and they might not be great ones. Like if you have a pawn with a low construction ability, and they might struggle with it, they might screw up, and you're having to go out and cut down more trees or whatever. But ultimately, they can complete one, and it might be awful. But again, that meme of a debuff of 8 without a table. There's a reason people, like when you watch the beginnings of a lot of RimWorld playthroughs, people like to throw a table and a little chair down. If anything, just because too many times they've been right on the verge of something, and then one little goofy debuff like that. And this is nice. And I can give an example because people don't always know this sort of stuff. Horseshoes or hoopstone, they will raise your ranged attack experience. So you can see like the current experience level, 1672 out of 4000, until we bump up to beyond a basic familiarity with ranged weapons. But I'm going to unpause the game, and as she plays, I think you'll be able to see those numbers tick up a little bit. It's not like it's super fast or anything, but they're doing recreation anyways, and hey, they're getting something for it, so it's great. You want to get a horseshoe, a hoopstone. You want to get those built quickly. They're a much better way for your pawn to get for them, because they can do it all together. There can be like 3 of them standing here talking and doing this, and it gives some social boost there as well. But I meant to there, see, 73, and she'll probably get 74. Yeah, so she gets a modest gain by doing that. Like she's throwing a little stone through a hoop, and she's getting a little bit better at her accuracy. So that's great. She's obviously not going to level up right away from doing that, but like over a period of time, when they are going there over and over again for recreation, it makes a difference. So now she's going to go back to cutting stuff. She's getting hungry, but she's got plenty of spare meals. That's great. These are not quite rotten yet. Yeah, here we go. All right. The raid, the Slicers of Chaos. Boy, they sound friendly. A group of pirates from the Slicers of Chaos have arrived nearby. They will prepare for a while, then attack. Prepare defense or attack them preemptively. This is sort of like an easier version normally of whatever the raid will be. I don't know if the actual enemy that spawned is going to be easy. It most likely will be. Typically, the very first enemy you face is nothing to be worried about. But in this scenario, it is, just because the state we're in. But in a normal playthrough, you handle it easily because you have like firearms and stuff, even if they're basic ones, and it's like some tribal guy coming at you with a wooden club. But in this case, this is like an even easier version, because now they're going to stand there for a while and before they attack, and that would allow, if I was like unprepared, I could still throw up a trap. I could still craft some more arrows or whatever. I feel like she's okay. She's got like 20 arrows. She's got a good bow. She's got a good knife. This area up here is pretty well cleared out. So if this raid does come from the top, we've got a way to shoot out at that. This whole area is crap. Like there's cover all over for them to avoid our shots. But we do have this trap here, which is at least something. And I hate to kill them right off the bat, because you always want to at least try to salvage their clothes before they die, to maybe get some medical experience from trying to stop them from dying. Even if they die anyways, you still get some. And maybe they will be like, I'll look right now, and the raider might have some stats that we could use. Like maybe they're a good cook, maybe they're a good negotiator, maybe they're a really good shot. So then boom, we're like, oh good, we got a ranged pawn, and she can attack with a knife. She can sort of like hide behind stuff. The ranged pawn can draw the enemy in, and then when the enemy goes around a corner, she's there to stab him. Stuff like that. So we'll see what this enemy is. It's likely something really mild and nothing to get worried about. Oh, this is I mean, she's at least got some kind of nice clothes. They're probably tattered or ratty or whatever. Let's see. Yeah. She does have cloth pants, which they are poor, but our pawn could wear these and maybe get rid of that naked buff. So that's something. If we can kill her and or strip her or whatever and get these pants before they get any more damage to them, for a little time at least, we'll lose the naked buff. They'll eventually get so raggedy that they become tattered. But I even think tattered is better than being naked. And like again with the blouse and stuff, but I wouldn't wear that blouse if the pants will just suffice. All these other things are all tattered. If it's less than 50%, it gets a status called tattered, where the colonist will wear it and they won't get that big of a debuff. It's not like they're wearing like some dead person's clothes that a person died in. But it looks like tattered rags that they're wearing, so they feel, oh, this is bad. This is really bad. God, I can't believe I didn't see that. I was so busy looking at clothes. This pawn is going to drink this shit and become like murderous. And if I try to run after her, up to her and attack her, she's going to drink this before I even get close to her. She's probably going to drink it like right away. Oh man. And when they drink that go juice, they move so fast. What a shitty thing. So I think my best bet here, oh man, what do we got? We need to eat. So while that pirate is up there, we'll come in here and eat. And I think our best bet really is to hunker down, let this pirate wait out some time, drink the go juice. They'll come storming down, and we can possibly at a certain point try to do like the duck out of the doorway, use the building, and then sort of go inside and lead them into a trap. But this is dangerous because that if they didn't have that go juice, I wouldn't be that concerned. I'd be concerned about getting cut by that knife and getting an infection. But I think we could still beat her. I didn't even look that closely at this pawn's bio. What is nimble? Nimble means they're going to be good at melee. They're going to avoid my knife blade better. Nudist, not a big deal. Brave. If we're shooting arrows at them, he's going to keep running. He's not very good at shooting or melee, but with that nimble, it's still a threat because we're better, and we have a better knife as well. But just this nimble is a really good trait. Melee dodge chance, dodge chance is a decent gain, and like probably I think that trap spring chance, it might mean, or it might be a balancing thing, but it might mean that this nimble player won't hurt themselves on this trap, which would be really problematic. So yeah. Mongoose might be dying here, but we'll see. She's gonna go in and eat, and we're gonna look if this chick is drinking her goat juice yet. If I try to come after her, is she already coming? Ugh. Okay, Mongoose. It seems like she's coming. Yeah. Oh no, she's wandering. One thing I can do, but it's a pretty big gamble, and I'd be really far from my trap. I can run out this way and sort of hide behind this big hill or this outcropping of boulders or whatever here. And as she's sort of moving around, I can try to take a couple shots at her. But as soon as I do, if I don't hit her, if I'm not able to get up like on her and get her into combat, she's going to drink that go juice and she's going to become a lot more dangerous. And she's probably going to drink it anyways when if she sort of gets down here, and then be super dangerous. So it's kind of like, do I want to try with my limited skills to do this, to sneak out here and kind of wait till it's right and sort of sneak up, and then just like go in with just my knife and just attack her melee before she can drink that goat juice. We just have like a knife fight, and I just have to hope that my superior melee skills carry me, because the problem is too, even though it's tattered apparel and it's nothing really great, the fact that she's wearing some clothes and she's got this pigskin apron, it's very poor. I mean, this is not hardly any armor at all when you in the ultimate scheme of things, but the fact that I have nothing, and she could possibly be high on go juice if I don't close the gap fast enough, then I'm going to be really screwed. Because let me just show, like, go juice, to give an example of why this is an issue. So right here you get this the status if she uses this as high on go juice, and this is what the status does. It makes him even less easy to suppress. So this pawn is already brave, and she's hard to suppress because of that, and now she's going to be fearless. Like I could be shooting like rockets at her and she'd just be running forward likely. Her consciousness is way better, so she's much harder to knock out, like especially if you're using a club, but even if you're cutting her with a knife and she's losing blood, she's going to be a lot harder to take down. Her movement gets a huge boost. This is the worst thing about go juice, is you sort of go out and then suddenly that enemy sees you and uses it, and like they close the gaps so fast and you can't get away. So that's why like going out there after her is so dangerous, because if we do it wrong, or if we can't get up to her before she uses this stuff, she becomes like a monster, and then we don't really have any answer to it. I mean, maybe we could still win that fight, but we'll probably be messed up afterwards, and we'll probably die just from like an infection or something, or we might like bleed out and lose consciousness and then kind of come back, but we can't really do anything about it because we're just one person. And the other thing is she barely feels pain. So like go juice is the devil's drink, especially if you're having to go against pawns that use it. And this raid right here, this is what I get for building that stove and for having those pieces of leather. I'm telling you, like if I wouldn't have done that, she would have showed up, this enemy, with like a single crappy knife, and she would have been naked. But because I did that stuff before the raid happened, the AI punished me essentially. Well, didn't punish, but they say, oh, you've got some nice stuff there. We're gonna give you a little bit more of a challenge. Like it dials up the difficulty a little bit, and normally a wise player like knows how to balance all that and to be prepared for it, and they don't sort of overdo things until they're ready for it. But the game can't tell, like, hey, all this extra wealth you've acquired, it's not from good weapons or good clothes or whatever. It's just because you built a stove, or you got some little pieces of leather that you just so happen to get lucky when things died nearby. So this is such a problem, and we need to take care of it now, because she's gonna want to go to bed soon. Like the fights can take a while. And if we try to like wait this out, and then it will be later, and then the attack will come, and we'll be tired, and this attacker will probably be all hopped up on go juice. I think I just have to, and this could be the end of the playthrough right here. I have to attack. I have to somehow sneak out here and do it in a way that she doesn't see me, if I can do it, which is tough, and I'm poor at it. There's people that could probably do it no problem, and they'd laugh to see how badly I fail. But I'm gonna try to sneak out here, and like when she's sort of has her guard down and the moment's right, I'll try to like spring out with my knife drawn and just go after her. And if I can get to her before she takes that go juice and we have a knife fight, I'm confident that I can win and hopefully not get badly cut, or if I do get cut, it's minor and I can stop the bleeding right away, and treat it, and hopefully not die from the infection if I get one. If I get an infection, I'll die, but hopefully I don't get an infection. So that's what we're gonna do. This could be a quick end to this, but hey, we are going commando style, and this pawn that we're going up against, as far as we're concerned, he drew first blood. He showed up to our little neck of the woods, and we don't have much, but we went from being naked. We were just some naked lady out here with nothing, and we found this little ruin, and we made it into something. And damn it, this person shows up, and they're drinking this goju stuff, and we're tribal. This is like from an advanced pirate colony kind of a thing. So this is like a person, if these two characters met, they wouldn't be able to speak the same language, because this person would be speaking like English, or an equivalent to like Star Wars. It would be basic, and our pawn would be like an Ewok, like speaking in whatever that language would be, where like the people of the Star Wars galaxy, they all might mutually understand basic as sort of like the language spoken across their galaxy, but you'd have these little indigenous languages where nobody would know what they were saying, and just be like, oh, these are these little furry teddy bear things, and ignore them. And where CP30 could access that language, because he had all those the language database and everything. But I only bring it up because this is pretty like, if you were Mongoose and you had just kind of started to do some good things here, and then suddenly this showed up, this like stranger that looked strange and had strange clothing, and if you were to happen to talk to her, she'd be like sounding all strange and weird. And she drinks that go juice, and suddenly she's like a demon. This would be a really terrifying experience. But I feel like we could, and it could work. I mean, this trap will kill her if she's on go juice, possibly. But if it doesn't, and she manages to somehow survive it, and then she's like coming after us, and we don't have any kind of way, we're in so much trouble. And the problem is like, if we tried to wait this out, she's gonna sit back here, and eventually when her raid starts, she'll take the go juice, and then boom, she's down on us, and she dies from this, just like I was so worried about, oh god, the turtle, and the tortoise is going to kill me, and it's just over and nothing, no big deal. But I think in this situation, we have to charge forward and take away her advantage of that go juice, if at all possible. Don't know if we can, but we're going to see. She's still up there wandering around. I don't like that she's kind of going away from our little spot. And we want to do our best. I'm not very good as well with like knowing the line of sights that these pawns have, like how good they're at seeing around corners and stuff. So like right here, I wouldn't want to engage, because if I come around this corner and she sees me, boom, she might take the go juice. So I want her to kind of walk back this way a little bit if possible. Come on. Yeah, that's good. Okay. This is our spot. We are this murderous little naked woman who's fighting for her little spot. We're going to run up to this corner and see if we trigger this line of sight. We probably will. Not yet. We're going for it. Hopefully we can catch her by surprise, and before she can react and take that go juice, we're up on her. And this is what's really nice, is that since we're naked and we are fast. I think I showed that before, but I think it's this one. What am I looking for? Oh yeah, 4.53 cells per second. What that exactly means and like how it translates over to the game is more complicated than I understand or I can explain. But and maybe it's not complicated at all, but I just haven't really looked into it enough. But I just sort of compare these numbers to have a general sense. She's just about as fast as us. That's why if she was on Go Juice, I mean, you talk about insane. She'd be like 6.75. She would be like running circles around us if she wanted to. But because we have this close gap right here, and she hasn't really spotted us yet. So we're gonna like pop around here and be like right up on her, and at least by engaging her like that, she's not going to be able to use the go juice. Now, we still might get screwed up bad in this fight, and this might have been a big mistake, but I think it was the right choice, because with that go juice, I don't think we could win. Even with our trap down there, I mean, that's a gamble in and of itself, and maybe it would have been a great one, and I'm taking too big of a risk right here. But this is just what I'm going to do, and we'll see how it goes. And if I lose, that's what I mean. Like, I lose lots of these, like, very early on, just for making dumb little mistakes. But sometimes it's just cool to see, like, okay, that did work, and that was maybe a good call. And if I really, really played this game with proficiency, I would be super good at gauging risk assessment for that kind of a thing. But this is just sort of me going a little bit on gut and intuition, and we'll see how it goes. So we're going to change this down to the low speed. We are right on her, and we engaged her. So this is a knife fight now, and you can watch the log, and we'll see what happens. Like, we're hoping that she gets hurt and we don't get messed up, but this could be. So we dodged that one, excellent, and we. I need to watch her, actually, because I need to see like what her health is doing. This is helpful too, that she's got this addiction. So if we do manage to down her, she's not going to be a pawn that we want to try to keep, because this is going to cause her to go crazy, and she'll possibly die from it if she doesn't get more of it. So what we can do is we can strip her as soon as we get her down, if she's not dead. And we can at least wear those clothes. And I think that the debuff from putting on a tattered clothes will still be a little bit less than being totally naked. So let's see. Dodge. I think we got her. Oh, we just we stabbed her. She's going to bleed to death in 22 hours at this current rate. Now, you kind of do have a counter rate where we did get a stab to our to right leg. We are not as bad as she is. We're only 81%, but we're pretty close. This is bad. And she's worse off than we are, but we are. Our hope here is that she goes down, and we can treat ourselves right on the spot to stop the bleeding. We strip her, we treat her possibly, and then we let her die. Because we can't save her, and with this go juice addiction, she would just be impossible to deal with, and we barely have enough food to feed ourselves. So and this is where, like, much more heartless players and people that play in a certain style, they would see this as like a meal, like a whole bunch of meals. They'd be like, oh great, you know, she came in, I killed her, and now I'm eating her for dinner. And that is one of the traits in this game that's way overpowered, depending on if you play that way, is cannibal. Like, if you're a cannibal, when you butcher humans and you eat them, it gives you a mood boost. If they're cooked, they got to be cooked. But if you're not a cannibal, and even in your colony somebody else butchers a human that is a cannibal, but your other pawn isn't, they'll take a big debuff, and if they have to eat human meat or whatever, it freaks them out. And but some people, like, their whole colony will just be pawns with the cannibal trait. And you can imagine what that's like, what those kind of playthroughs are like. They're all over YouTube. If you're interested, if you see this video and you've never seen a video on RimWorld before, can't imagine a lot of people haven't, but and you find this game interesting, definitely check out like all the stuff on YouTube. There are so many good content creators for this game, and deservedly so. And I think I said before in the other video, but just again, there are some that eventually down the line I'll probably make like a short video and just be like, hey, these people are really cool, at least from what I've seen. And I'm sure there's much better out there, and people can share some really good ones. But here we go. Oh, she got us again. Oh, nice. Okay. Thank heaven, because like, we're not in a great state. We're okay, death in 11 hours, so it's not like, boom, we're just going to fall over. But this is where, okay, you turn off your drafted state, and immediately the priority goes to tending to Mongoose and all these stab wounds that she just got. And that again is because we put our doctor on priority 1, and we are the doctor. We're self-tending, which is not great to be doing, but you don't have any other choice. And even our patient would sort of induce that. But what we're going to do is we're going to stop our bleeding, and then we're probably, depending on her, she's got 3 hours, which can be faster, but she's probably not going to die right away. We can probably treat ourselves, strip her, and then try to stop her bleeding and at least get some medical benefit from it. By stripping her, I'm mainly trying to get those pants. As long as those pants are still, hey, they're 1% or they're 2% better than what I like to use them for. So if Mongoose can put those pants on and get rid of the naked buff, even for a day or two, hey, that's cool. It was pretty expensive pair of pants to get stabbed a bunch of times, but we couldn't help that. This guy came into our area and was going to attack us. So, and if you look, like, while he's tending himself, if you hover over the medical category, you'll see these points slowly go up. I have the game on really slow right now, so let me turn it up just a little bit. The problem is he has a very high risk of getting infected because all this blood that's all around both these characters right now, this is very dirty, and so this is like a huge infection risk. So we still might die. This is like a very high likelihood that we're going to die because one stab wound, maybe, but like this is a couple to our torso. And one to our right leg. So we've got like 3 different wounds that can get infected, and we're just in a filthy spot right now. And ideally, like, if we finish this treatment and move away, we would just let her die because we don't want to be in this dirty area. I think that's how it works. But you can see, like, our treatment quality is like 8.5% because we don't have like good medical. We have very basic first aid. Like, we know how to put pressure on a wound is essentially like the level that we're at. But the good thing is now we've got all the bleeding stopped. And right now, the last thing we're treating is the nice thing. I think this might be a mod, but maybe they incorporated it into the game, or it's already sort of been there and they sort of fix it to be the way it should be. I think originally there used to be a problem where at least doctors, but maybe pawns on an individual level, they would prioritize healing stuff that didn't need to be healed, and they would sit there bleeding out. Like, she might fix the crack to her sternum, like she got bruised on her sternum. She might sit there trying to like feel where that hurt her and massage it a little bit and make it feel better, when she's got like 2 really bad stab wounds right into her chest, and she should be like putting pressure on those and stopping the bleeding. So I think they had to fix that, or there were issues that were happening, like where doctors would they would treat like non-lethal stuff, and so there are mods that are it's called like triage or something like that. There's things along those lines where it makes the medical pawn that you have be smart and go for things that are like much more potentially lethal. So I don't know if that was ever like fixed in the game, or if it had already kind of been like that and I just misunderstood some things, but I think that was a change that was a big it was sorely needed. She is about to die, and we can probably strip her. We could try to stop her bleeding, but I think she'd die before we even got close. We're just not good enough medically, and I'd rather try to get those pants. Let's see if they take away our nude. No, we still have nudity. We'll see what happens if I wear this blouse. Now she loses. Let's see what the needs are. Still have naked. Maybe I gotta throw this on. Hey, throw the shoes on too if you're gonna wear all this tattered apparel. Yeah, and now this is an example of that chemical fascination, because she is she has a chemical interest. She sort of craves it, and the fact that we don't have any kind of drugs or anything like that. It does give her a little bit of a debuff, and if she gets really, really stressed, sometimes that can like pop up because she really wants to go on a drug binge because she's like freaking out. Unfortunately, this is where like the weather comes in, and this was a bad timing for it. It started raining, of course, RimWorld. These are other things she's not happy about. And you can see, so tattered apparel, it's a -5, but I believe unhappy nudity was -6. So whoopity-doo, we get one less. Not great, but the good thing is it's not much. But even wearing this stuff, we get a little bit of a cover from the elements now. Like before, I think we were like 81, 69 to 81, and now we actually have we have a little bit of a buffer when the weather changes. We're not going to be freezing cold. We're not going to be like dying in the heat, because we do have some stuff that we're wearing. And the other thing is, if you dive into it and look at some of the information on these items, they provide a little bit of armor. Like if you think about it, if you were walking down the street and somebody attacked you with a knife, the sheer fact that you have some clothing on, even though it barely makes any difference, it's still something. Like maybe the knife gets snagged on your shirt, or it doesn't quite hit you a certain way because like the fabric ripped in a certain way and screwed up the blow of the stab. I don't know. Like I'm not like some kind of a knife fighting person or whatever. That there's probably people that really know all about that stuff and would be able to say no, that's bullshit or whatever. But in this game, anyways, even basic clothing has a little bit of armor value. It's barely anything, but something's better than nothing. Especially when we started off like just totally naked, and we survived this first onslaught, and we're in rough shape, and we'll see if our wounds become infected. But as soon as we get out of this rain, we'll get rid of that debuff. She's going to haul this, and I almost wonder, since I'm already taking the buff for the tattered apparel, might as well just wear this, because this does improve our carrying capacity and a little bit of our speed when we're walking around with stuff. So, and how is she? 3 hours, or 0.3 hours, maybe. Yeah, I forget how that you're supposed to do this. It's been such a long time. There's a way you can put a little a bed next to her, and then you put her in it like a medical bed and possibly save her. But I doubt we're going to even be able to do like 2 seconds of it. Medical, and I think I can put her, no. I don't remember how to do this. Yeah, it won't let me do it there. There's a way that, like, right on the spot, and maybe this is a mod I don't have, or I have some setting weird, but right on the spot you can pick her up and put her in this little bed and treat her. But she's gonna die in a second anyways, and whatever. I'm just gonna let it happen. I'm gonna leave this stuff out here because I don't want anything to do with this. This is gonna make my wealth pop up too much, so this stuff can just decay in the weather. I'll leave her knife out here to decay in the weather, and she can decay out here, but I don't want her. Well, she's pretty far. I might sit here depending on how I'm doing. Not great, but I'm gonna sit here and wait until she dies, and then I'm gonna make a little zone over here where I could sort of like tuck her body away, so it could just sort of decay in the elements, and it'll be in a spot where I likely won't walk around it, so I don't have to like see her desiccated corpse, which causes a big debuff. This game is really cool that way, where it's like it gets into that sort of level of detail as far as your colonist perceiving things around them and having positive or negative effects on them. Normally it's negative. A lot of things in RimWorld are like, hey, it's raining, great. There are some character traits that would be happy it's raining right now, but typically they're not, and she's not. So I'm going to draft her again just so she's standing right here, and wait for I don't even need to wait for her. I can melee her to death. I might as well, and I'll do it with my with this on my equip, because then it's going to be I'll be able to hit her maybe a couple more times. That's what you get. That's what you get for attacking us. Alright, so she's dead, and now Mongoose is tired, but she did great. she was tough, and that extra, and we did get a melee point now, so we're going to be that much tougher. But if that was our first raid, it's kind of concerning. We need to do more as far as being prepared, and the fact that we don't have a second pawn makes it really difficult. So we're going to make this little stockpile here, and we're going to turn everything off. We're going to take away the fresh, and then we're going to come down here where the corpses are, minimize this again, open it up. Minimize animal corpses, and then we're going to OK human corpses. And so this is you're essentially telling the game that, like, if there's a human corpse just sort of out in the open, it would go to these little areas. And there is a way to build graves, to dig graves, and to bury raiders or your own colonists and all kinds of stuff. But this is a mean raider, a raider we don't like, and we don't care about her, and we don't want to waste time digging graves for her. So we are going to haul her body into that little spot. Whoops, what did I forget to... Got human-like. Oh, I need to have it allow fresh, because she's fresh. Alright, so we grab her, and see that little skull that came up right there? Now if you look at needs, we have a debuff for observed corpse. Now, and this gets a much higher if it's like a desiccated corpse or something like that, or if it's multiple times, it does stack. But we've took the hit for we were going to take it anyways. We were standing right next to her when she died. We possibly could have ran off, but then this body would have just been sitting out here, and at some point we likely would have got close to it and got a big debuff from it. So we're going to move it over to here, drop it down, and now Mongoose is going to go and rest and hopefully heal up a lot. We're not seeing any indication of infection yet, which is good. We'll see kind of when she sleeps tonight. That'd kind of be a likely time when it might pop up over this next healing period. Next, we have 2 meals, and they have plenty of time before they spoil. And this is getting close to spoiling, so we need to butcher this. Let's see. How's she doing? Let's look at her. Yeah, I mean, she's doing okay. This was kind of concerning. I mean, her sternum got sort of low, and so she really took a beating to her chest. And looks like she's pretty good. She is so hungry, so we need to make sure she gets up and eats. Normally, she would get super duper hungry and then go and eat, but we can just do it early for her, and she can get up, and now she's going to get a little bit of recreation. She's still hurt, so after this little bit of recreation is over, she's probably going to go back to bed and keep healing, which is fine. So that was not no infection happening yet, so I think we're in the clear, hopefully. But that was it went okay for our first encounter. Those are typically like cakewalks, is the way they're supposed to be, and the fact that I'm like stressing about it so much says everything about the kind of RimWorld player that I am. Mongoose, she's sticking in there, and she's been an okay. How close are we on this rat? 20 hours. So I'm gonna wait until probably she gets up to eat again, and then she'll butcher it, and then tomorrow she can cook it. How long until this goes bad, this little piece of meat? 19 hours, so we'll see. How is she doing? Yeah, I'm in a little bit here. I need to stop, and I'll have to go back in when I come back into the save and double check my mods to see if I did screw up like the caravan visits and all that sort of stuff. We are a minor break risk because, like, as we're sleeping, she's getting really, really hungry, but that's fine. She can build up her rest and still be, she's going to get super hungry here, but as soon as she gets up, she's going to eat. So that'll solve that. And we have plenty of space before we hit that next little band of trouble as far as our mental break status. Now she's on recreation, and she's pretty full for rest and recreation. So I'm going to get her up, and she's going to eat. And now she wants to go play hoopstone, which is fine. She's going to be mad because she's out in the rain, but whatever. It's a rainforest. It's where you live. And she's going to go back and rest. So she's almost healed up, and she's and that rat. I think that we can get her healed up. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. And when it gets to like 6 hours, I'll butcher it. We're not going to get much from it. Maybe 10 meat at the most. How long for this thing again? 10 hours. Yeah, so as long as we butcher it quick and get up there and cook, we can probably get a meal out of it. I'm going to do it at 7 just to be safe. I like this game so much about like how you get attached to these pawns, and it's really tough when bad things happen and they die. And that's one of the reasons I sort of like, I can't master this game, because you got to be able to, in a little bit like Out of the Park, where like I love the Cubs of that time period, and I loved so many of those players as far as baseball goes. But I'm like playing that that playthrough, you have to like gut that team to sort of have a chance in the short to intermediate term to acquire some pieces that might make a big difference more like in 3 or 4 years from the point from where we're at now. That's a whole other thing though. But this game, it does the same thing where like you go through a lot with these little pawns, and you see them overcome a lot of challenges, and sometimes they fail, and there's funny things that happen and sad things and poignant things. And time for her to butcher this. All right, she's gonna go take that here, and I want her to, I guess it doesn't have a bill set up. Now this is the point to where I won't get too into how this add bill stuff works, because eventually I'll create more elaborate ones, and then I'll explain them when I do that. This is going to be really simple. I'm just going to set like a point to where I want her to keep making meals as long as we have enough meat. I want her to always make more meals if we have less than 4, but I'm going to tell her like, what is the setting here? You can pause when there's enough, and you only need to start making them if we get down to 2 meals in our inventory. That way, like, she's not like running back and forth, always just trying to cook just a pitiful amount. Some get used up. I think I need to change that to 1 actually, or it will just be too often. Yeah, 1's good. And now she's gonna go rest a little bit more. I think she should be healing up on all these things. Yeah, she's super close. That's where having a bed too, instead of a roll of fur, has a benefit, because I think she's probably gaining a little bit of her health back. All right, she's hungry. Time to cook and to eat. Nice, she used that 1, so we get 2 more little pieces of meat that maybe can get put into something before they go bad. Good, no food poisoning, awesome. This thing, we got 17 more hours, so we're going to be able to butcher that and then have another meal. She's going to be healthy by then, and she's going to get up and start doing stuff, so probably cutting down trees and hauling lumber. But a good job by our pawn. She started off like obviously just naked and had nothing, and she's sort of like here, I'll turn this off too. It's probably really annoying to people who watch. So that's what the weather, the temperature, and it only gives you the indoor temperatures. To see the outdoor ones, you just see this number here. But this color that I have on here, I forgot to just take off the roof, and I'll also take off that indicator of temperature. Sorry, by the way, to any European or rest of the world who looks at this and is like, what the hell, 90F, what am I supposed to do with that? 64F Fahrenheit, what good is that? It really, if I was making this video with the mindset of like a broader audience in mind, I'd be using temperatures like Celsius. I studied a little bit I took some science classes and stuff in college, nothing huge. I mean, your typical liberal arts type stuff. But I do understand like the benefits of the metric system, like having a temperature in Celsius and things like that. And I have a general sense of what these equivalents are in a degree Celsius, but it's not off the top of my head something I can just rattle off and be like, oh, this is this much. I think like 90 would be around like 32 or 33. It's just a guess, but probably way wrong. But okay, so she is like cutting like a maniac. She's hauling that wood. But yeah, I'll take that away. I was just mentioning that because people probably like really don't like how those colors take away the view of the interior. But we have just really ugly stuff going on here. This is just like very functional. It's just getting us by. And now we are getting a ton of wood, which is a problem because this is like a big spike in our in our wealth. But what we're going to convert that into is we're going to put a butcher table right here, and yeah. Thing I don't like is sort of just making this big long rectangle, but we're just sort of improvising, and we're getting what we can with this one tiny little ruin that we found. And this our ultimate colony might be way different if we can keep going and we don't get wiped out. But this is one of the struggles of this game, is like as you start to do stuff and kind of get stuff built up a little bit and you're just sort of eking by, it's really hard to suddenly like start to build in a more in a better way, where it's not you're just like piecemeal throwing things together, doing what you can to get by. Like you can start to become too stuck with the way things are working in this little confined space, and it's not good enough. We do need to start planting too. I mean, we have a year-round food schedule, but we're sort of hurting where we at least need some rice in the ground, so it's starting to get close to being harvested. And what we're gonna do is whenever she's like getting up or she's coming out, she's gonna plant like just this area right here next to this door. It would be ideal more if it was on this side. Maybe I will do on this side just because it's next to the kitchen. I do need to make a door between these two because it's just like so inefficient for her having to like run around. And this is not a good setup, but it's working for us just in a pinch, and that's all we're trying to do. But yeah, she needs to make this this butcher table, and that's going to make a big difference. Now we're going to start getting maybe not full meat, but we're going to get like a good amount of meat from the animals we kill or that we scavenge if like they're left behind. And so here's what I'm going to do here is this is going to be expensive as far as wood goes, but we've got a decent amount, and sort of screwing with our wealth, and we don't want that. So we are going to and I think one of these no, I'm not. Doors are expensive, unfortunately, but we are going to make two just so that we're able to get in and out both sides. And I am going to set this door right here to stay open, because once I enclose this, when I come into here, I want to be like moving back and forth. And even if you have an open door between like the butcher area, what you don't want to be dirty, and the kitchen area that you do want to be clean, it doesn't count it like the dirtiness leaks over into the kitchen like it possibly could in real life. I don't know. But she is going to build away, and hopefully in a sense, I mean, I know it sort of counts to be building these structures, but converting the wood to this, I think, is potentially burning a little bit of the value that it has inherently. Let me double check that oh, she didn't build that wall or that roof, I wonder. I don't understand why that worked that way, but whatever. Did I put build roof? Yeah. All right, she's going to eat. That was her last meal. We can go get these berries too. I mean, look at this. There's probably a whole bunch that are over here ready to harvest. So that is a nice thing. We don't have to be crazy about, oh, when you have the snake. 6 hours. Shit. Almost missed that. That would have been wasted. It's probably going to be barely anything, but... Oh, I guess I don't get meat from those. I didn't know that. Cool. All right, so we need to get rid of that because that's just like an ugly thing sitting in there. We will just make another stockpile. And this one, we put it to critical. We're going to put animal corpses, and then we're going to haul that urgently and have her go haul it real quick. Why is she not able to haul this? What, is this not an animal? And why, it says I can consume it, but why can't she butcher it, like even cut it up into pieces and eat it? I know people eat snake, but maybe cobras because of the poison or whatever, but if they're even poisonous. I don't even know anything about snakes. Oh, derp, I just didn't have it turned up. My bad. It was that lizard skin. Yeah, lizard skin, kind of useless. But this is what I don't like, is when you're kind of just going with what you can get. You get all these little pieces of leather, and you want to try to get enough of one kind so that you're able to create some better clothes for yourself. I will make another meal. Oh, she's going to automatically once she's done with her little social relaxing, talking to herself. She cleans a little bit. She goes in. She makes that meal. Great. Now she's got a meal. Now, if you check before, it's still a little dirty because there's probably like a little bit of debris or something she needs to come in here and clean. But this kitchen is at least cleaner than it was. It's not clean. But hey, it's an improvement than just a dirt floor. So we're moving on up, right? Like we have a wooden floor in our kitchen. Hopefully she cleans it soon. She's probably going to ultimately fix these walls finally as well that she was trying to do, and we kept diverting her away. We need this wall fixed. I guess she'll do that next when she gets up. This starting like this can be tough because it all falls on this one colonist, and there can be these lulls where just if there's not a raid, if there's not you have a ton of stuff to do, but it's just sort of a lonely playthrough because you just got this one colonist and you're just sort of telling her how to do all these things and what she needs to be doing. And she's great, and she's been great so far. Like all the beginning playthroughs like this, they tend to just be, they're fun because you like to see them strive, even though they're kind of in a rough spot. But the problem is, like, she needs a companion. She needs to more than man. How's that? I really want to do this. I need to get heal root. But I need food so bad too. It's got to be rice, and then we'll do some heal root on this side. But yeah, we gotta have some rice. Man, oh man. Okay, she's going for a walk, and she's gonna plant. Great. It's nice. I mean, it's not anywhere really what we need, but hey, we got some seeds in the ground. That's wonderful. And I think we'll expand this. Give her about 9 more to go for. She won't get this done before, or maybe she'll have it all finished up. And see, yeah, this is where like her planting being 10 and it being an easy crop, and it's already pretty cleared out once we cleared those trees away. And now, so we have this isn't really an ideal amount of rice, and it's a little bit hard for me. There is I think a mod that will make this dirt a lot more visible. I think this one might be even one of them, but just to double check that. There we go. So I'll have her fill that in, and then I'm going to have her do a big patch of heal root right here, because we really need it. Like, you don't want to stockpile too much, because again, it's going to cause a huge boost to the to your wealth. But I will say that, oh, there's the dirty thing. Why isn't she cleaning that? Come on, clean. You got something. Oh, I know why. Derp. Gotta expand the home zone. That always helps. And so this, now we've slowly like told her, hey, this whole enclosure thing here, this is home, and you need to clean here. You need to fix things that get damaged. And I'm also going to extend it out, because if a fire were to like spread to these crops, you want her to run out and beat it out. And ultimately, like, really, you want to like sort of expand beyond the broader perimeter of what you've built. But I don't do it right away, because I don't want her to be out here wasting time like cleaning up these little pieces of rubble, of rock, when she's got 20 other things she should be doing. And that does happen if you sort of like expand that zone to include too much stuff. That's why I turn off it automatically does it. Like as soon as you sort of claim something or you start to build something, it'll claim a zone, and it'll keep like making it bigger and bigger. And that is good if you're just sort of like let it do it, and it still is essentially doing the same thing. But I like to keep it really tight, like right on the actual structure, and just so if anything, she gives a priority to cleaning up the kitchen. So now the kitchen is clean. It should have been before, but I kind of derped on that. And now if we cook in there, and this meat is still good for 7 days, does she still have a meal on her? No, she does not. Okay, it's time to harvest some berries. And this is a beautiful berry patch right here. We do have some even closer. We'll see what how far along this is. So there's fully grown. These other ones are 93%. This one's fully grown. This is good. We can get 30 berries. I mean, we could harvest all these, and wouldn't be a terrible thing, but maybe we should. And I mean, this is going to be a ton, but if I have all this stuff up here and there's still a lot of it growing in, I want to try to give all this a good chance to be like 90% plus, because then when I come over here and harvest, I'm going to be bringing 2 or 3 trips back with berries. And the nice thing about berries is, okay, they're not rice or any of those like longer term crops, but they last for like 14 days or something like that, and then you can cook them into meals over a longer period of time while you supplement it with meat. And doing so, you're using your meat up before it goes bad, and then you dip back onto the berries in the meantime, and then ultimately on your longer term crop, like your rice or your potatoes or whatever. So, oh, she's still wondering why. Oh, because I forgot to tell her. My fault. Yeah, she can. I'm just gonna harvest all these. It's a little soon on them, but they're so close, and when you cut them, I think it begins their regeneration process right away. So it's sort of like you just reset the clock. And yeah, so we got like 9 out of that one. We're getting a little bit less than maybe we could have, but still, it's nice. And this is again where she thinks this is where it needs to be, because I didn't change the behavior. But now I tell her, like, okay, for foods, I also want you for raw foods, go ahead and throw anything that's vegetarian into this little space where our kitchen is. This kitchen is not big enough at all. But this is just, again, like a makeshift setup to just sort of like get us to where we've got a lot of these little components, and then ultimately when we build something bigger, we are slotting those into like a more appropriate sized space. But I like to sort of do this to where like I'm just barely getting by. It makes a lot of extra work for yourself, and it's a bad way of playing probably. But you have the structure here, and you're just sort of building around it, and you have your stuff all around here. So it just feels like the path of least resistance, even though there's probably much better ways to do it. So she is about done for the night. She's gonna or for the day. She's gonna finish through this food, and then I need to find. She wants to go wandering. That's her, or she wants. She needs something to do. I mean, so now we're gonna plant a ton of heel root, and this stuff takes a long time to grow. So, it's not a terrible thing that we if we have a whole bunch of it, except it really dramatically increases value. Now, a trick with when you use the growing zone, if I were to pull this right up against the rice, it'll if I hadn't done it from this side, if I had like used expand zone from the actual this zone and then tried to pull it over, it would just expand the whole rice zone. But if you did it from over here and only did it like 2 lines and let go, it would generate it like it's this brand new zone, like we did anyways. I'm probably not explaining that very well, but there's little quirks and tricks. Like as you start to do these things, you learn little tricks with hotkeys or whatever that make it run more smoothly. And every time you put a grow zone, make sure that you swap over to what you want to grow. And it's beautiful. This is a really nice thing about this pawn is she's already over 8, which means she can already plant and harvest heal root. A lot of times when you do these kind of startups and you have your stats all set up, you only have like 5 in plants, and so it's a little bit of a grind to get up to heal root, and by then you possibly have died because you didn't have the the ability to heal yourself. Herbal medicine is not a great thing compared to like the normal medicine in the game or RimWorld medicine, but it's definitely better than nothing. Especially when it comes to infection and those kinds of things. I don't like this this little rat. Any kind of like little animals, these llama and these are like, this is nice easy meals over here. They don't fight back. But any animals, I don't have this enclosed, and that's one thing you do is we did get cargo pods. So we got some weapons in these cargo pods. Let's see what they are. Probably something that makes me way too strong. Hey, a club. I mean, do I really want to run all that way? It's something and it has value, and clubs certainly, they're kind of nice because they're good for like parrying melee attacks. So if you got to like buy time and tank a little bit, maybe you like have a club on that pawn to sort of just fight off those melee attacks. But I'm not going to run all the way over just for that. And all it would do is she'd carry it around and it'd make her slower. And if she's using a club to kind of tank, we're in trouble. Like she's probably dead anyways, or she's gonna die. So let's get this done. Don't go and socialize yet. I want you to finish this. I just can't stress again the person who made this game and just all the community that has contributed so much to it. It's you can tell it's a real testament of how good of a game it is, and how much passion people have for it, because there's just so many things beyond what I even know, but even what I could explain as far as like how much this game has improved. And it was good when it came out. It was like a classic game even from the very beginning. But now if you have any kind of familiarity with it, or you sort of know what it's about, like some of the aspects of it, there's so many things that are cool about it, but it becomes really endearing because it is I'm trying to think of what this is comparable to, but you're building up these little guys and they are like taking on the world, and it's pretty cool. Like when they start to become badasses, it takes on a whole different feeling. Like right now we're still like survival mode, we're just getting by. But if suddenly this colony was like really developing and they had really good weapons, and the stuff that would come after at these pawns, if they could like fend it off and just fend off many times their numbers, because of course you as the force behind it, you're able to sort of outsmart the AI if you know how it works. Like I'm not great at it, but players that really do, I mean, they're amazing. But it becomes super intense and fun when okay, maybe that was a little bit of a sense of tension when we were like over here by, let me turn this bed off, by the way. When we were over here waiting to swing around this corner and stab this raider, who, as you can see now, she is a dead She's been dead for 3.5 days, so now she is rotting. And if we happen to walk over here, we would get a big debuff, because that's nasty to see, like a dead body anyways, but then it's like it's out there rotting, and even over more time it desiccates, it becomes a desiccated skeleton. It's pretty heinous. But this game, that little moment of like, oh man, I got to go around this corner and attack her, and that choice, that right there is the beauty of this game, is the choice. Do I wait back and try to use what I have built here and this trap, and this pawn's going to be coming, but she's going to be high on go juice? Do I take that risk that this little rookety wooden trap is going to be enough to stop her, or at least slow her down so I can stop her, hopefully? Or am I going to be aggressive and come up here and sneak around and just arm myself with a knife and go right at her before she can drink the go juice, and see if I prevail? And we prevailed, but there are plenty of times when you try it and you don't, and then you feel stupid. But it's a beautiful game in the sense that when you talk about replayability, this game has it in spades. Like the procedural generation of stuff and just the scenarios the game puts you into, even though there's a similarity to it, there's a pattern to it where people become familiar with it when they play a lot. It's very fresh every time you encounter it. Even really good players, like, they'll still take those situations serious, because coming up when you play this game, you fail enough and you do a lot of stupid things enough that unless you're a really, really elite player that just overcomes all these obstacles with no sweat, people understand the risk that any one of these scenarios pose, even the stuff that seems like it's a cakewalk. Now, if they're starting with like the more advanced, the crash landed scenario, they have some weapons and they get like this pawn from an enemy tribe that has like a spear or is running up with an old rusty knife. People aren't going to sweat that, because they've got like a rifle that shoots that pawn before they even get close. But if you're kind of on an even parity with whatever's attacking you, it becomes very tense. And so hopefully that little bit of a fight, it wasn't really much, but it gave it a sense of RimWorld. And now she wants to go wandering, and I don't want to like really commit to a whole other block of doing a bunch of stuff. I've already been on this video for a really long time and a previous video for a really long time, and that's good enough for now. I mean, like, I've talked and my throat hurts and my mouth hurts and need a drink, and might come back and do some other stuff, or maybe play out of the park a little bit, and just do some like really throwaway quick videos for that. Just to cover a couple of things that I wanted to say, and to do with it. But this game, I hope that anybody that watches this, and I did have a commenter, the name just escapes me. I'm so bad with names. As soon as like I pull it up or see the image or whatever, it'll like click. But he mentioned he really likes RimWorld too, and we were chatting in the comments, and I'm so sorry, I'm like blanking on the name. I have the worst memory for stuff like that. Like, without giving up too much information, I was a teacher for many years, and I was very, like, if I had students sitting in the desk where they were assigned, like, I could learn their names very quickly. Like, within the first day or two, I could like call them by their names, and even if they were out walking in the halls and stuff, I could remember their names, because I would like really force myself to, and it was important to me, because it's important that your students feel like you know who they are individually, and they're not just like just another number going through the system, even though it sort of feels like that after a while, and that's one of the reasons I quit teaching, but that's a whole other thing. But names are like my bane. Like, I meet people all the time, and I really like them, and I have great conversations with them, and they tell me their name, and I'm like, oh, I got to remember that name, and then I go, and then like not long afterwards, I sort of encountered them again, and I'm so embarrassed. I have to be like, oh my god, I forgot your name. I just don't remember names. I'm so sorry. And this is where somebody like wrote me a comment, and it was cool. We've been commenting back and forth, and they're really cool. And I'm like, what is their name? So anyway, sorry that I can't remember, but this viewer said, "Hey, I like RimWorld too. That's cool," and encouraged me like, "Yeah, if you did that, I'd probably watch it." And I don't know if this is more along the lines of the way this is a lot slower paced than the way people probably normally play RimWorld. There'd be people, they would already have like walls going up, and they'd be just doing all kinds of massive stuff, and I'm like sitting here just like barely getting some crops in the ground, barely had the first raid, and we're already like 6 hours into it. So that just is a testament to like I need to shut up sometimes and just play. But I hope that maybe somebody that's never really seen this game or knew about it, or were just interested in other games and happened to catch this because like you saw some of the out of the park stuff, and then you see this and it might look cartoony to you, like this might not be really the style of game that you'd normally play. But if you think of it like as like a real-time strategy, like a base building game, there is a lot of simulation and choices, and like so this whole work queue, the way that you set all this up, this is a game where it doesn't seem like it at first with some of these like these icons and the way this all works, but it's another game with spreadsheets all over in it. I love spreadsheets in my spreadsheets. I got a game with spreadsheets within spreadsheets. Like there's just there is so much in here, dense information for you to unpack, and it does get much deeper. Like when you can go into individual item, like all the materials that items are made out of, they have impacts on how effective they are for certain types of armor. Some certain materials are more resistant to heat, like fire damage. Other materials are really good insulators against extremely cold climates. There is just a whole litany of depth to this game that like I'm not even scratching on, and I probably won't be able to because it's like way beyond. I have to like look stuff up just to remind myself how it worked, because there is enough detail in how the simulation in this game works and all these levels stuff. It's so cool. Like I mean, what a wonderful game. So I hope that people that are possibly unfamiliar with it, it's a game that maybe you can fall under people's radar if you're not into these type of games, or just maybe you don't have a really broad taste in video games. You like what you like, and that's cool. But maybe seeing it, and you can maybe you sort of get a hint of where this can go. And I'll do my best to keep it going, of course, and to get a few more pawns, and maybe we build up, and maybe we're like getting a little bit powerful, but the inevitable heartbreak will come. Trust me, there'll be a time when we get a raid that's like just way too overwhelming, and Mongoose dies, and it's such a sad thing, and you're just crestfallen, and that can be hard too to keep continuing that kind of a playthrough if you get totally devastated. Those are some of the best playthroughs where you can get devastated and you can build back up, and you get new colonists and everything. And then some people, they overcome those kind of challenges, and then they leave the planet, or they have a great game. And sometimes I'm inclined to sort of lose interest or quit, or sometimes when things go like that, just because, like I said, I get attached to the pawns, and when you lose one, especially like if I lose her. If this expands even a little bit, we get like a couple more members to this tribe, and then we lose her. It would be devastating, because she's been our start from the beginning, and she wasn't perfect. Like I just sort of like, I need to pick one. I'm just going to pick one. She's all right. She can do some of these things. Let's go. She's got some big flaws as far as like as a main character for this kind of a start, but damn it, she survived. She survived that first raid. She has still like a kind of a not a great ranged ability, but she's gaining more in melee. And so if we can get a good ranged pawn, and a pawn that can maybe fill in a few of these gaps, in particular, like Doctor would be a good one too, because you don't want pawns self-treating themselves. It's good for them to learn and to save their lives if they have no other option. But having like a dedicated doctor that really amps up and gets good skill ups is a huge difference maker. And having a dedicated cook too. Now, Mongoose, she's up to 3, and I can't remember those threshold levels that I was talking about before, as far as like when food poisoning drops off as far as such a major concern. But 3 is a pretty good change. Like the fact we made 3 in cooking now, and we only food poisoned ourselves once, and that was from raw berries. It wasn't from anything we even cooked. Now, with that being said, we are due to give ourselves food poisoning because we've escaped it for too long. Fortunately, we had that raid, and so if it does happen, like within the next day or two, before another raid comes, we're okay. But you never know what's sitting in these little meals right here. Like maybe we have a case of food poisoning in one of those. But still, she's done great. Even if I lost right now, or I hadn't made it through that little fight, it'd be disappointing. But she's been more resilient than I expected, especially with this lower melee and just some of these skills that I was sort of like, ooh, this is concerning with this low medical. I mean, the fact she has high plants is a huge plus, but you gotta survive some of the initial stuff for that to even start to matter. The construction being strong as well is really nice, and the crafting. So she's a good pawn, but she needs a companion that can sort of do some of these other things better. The mining in particular, it'd be nice to have a companion for her that was a better miner. She can pick it up. She can go do a little bit more of it if she runs out of stuff to do. Like she's in the state now where she wants to go wandering. So if I needed to kill some time or give her something, I could get a little more still. But I need to reset. I need to get a drink. I need to take a break or whatever. And also, this is a thing where I need to walk away from it now and then come back and think about, like, okay, now what's the next stage of what I need to accomplish? There's many things. There's many approaches you can take with this game, which is another beautiful part of it. But yeah, it's so much more to consider and to go into. I don't want to keep going because it's already been a long time. But if you've been watching through all this stuff or had it on the background or whatever, thanks so much. This game is so cool. I love it so much. And anybody that likes this game, I mean, you understand why. It's I know I've just said a ton of praise on it. But when people say there's not any good games anymore, or that developers don't make good games, I mean, these kind of games, I know they're not everybody's style, and to get into them, it's a lot. Like, there's a lot going on, and to learn it, you gotta watch tutorials, and there's so many good ones on YouTube that I highly encourage people that are interested in this game to watch a lot of beginner tutorials if you're going to give it a go. They're very useful, and you might die spectacularly after a while because you're still sort of making some mistakes, not understanding how some systems work, but it's beyond what I can help with, because I'm still like I would say a novice player, even though I've played it a ton. And those tutorials are made by people that are very skillful at this game. And so yeah, I need to stop now, but so much kudos to the makers of this game and its community. It's to me, it's the perfect game. I get tired of it though. Like, when you play anything for 1,000 hours and it can be frustrating and it can be hard. You tend to want to walk away and do something else. So hopefully that's okay. And I try not to lose interest if I make videos about stuff and get something going. I'll play this through, but I'm not gonna be like the most obsessive crazy person that's going to figure out all the min-max ways of doing everything. And I have a lot of respect for YouTubers and people that are able to play games like that, and they're good enough and they're smart enough to figure out those patterns, but I'm not one of those people. So anyways, thank you so much. Take care. If you're still listening, have a good one, and see you around. Thanks. Bye.